Oh, shit. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Saturday morning. Brunch with Bishop. It's going to be the new name to whatever this is when I feel like giving it a name and a full graphic.
That Brunch with Bishop works.
I think so. Today's guest on the Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast, Mr. RedFox of at Night of the LP, which is Night of the Living podcast, which is a proper name because in Night of the Living Dead, the dead becomes alive, and I think your dead podcast needs to come alive very, very soon. Mr. RedFox, introduce yourself, tell everybody where to find you, what's up, and all that.
What's up, guys? I am RedFox. Thank you for that brilliant introduction, Bishop. I am RedFox, host of Night of the Living podcast, the pop culture controlled chaos project of Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast from. We do everything from horror, comics, movie, wrestling, you name it, or whatever I think of. That's what we record on. It's all unscripted. Trying to think of the other word I had for this. It's all unscripted nonsense, and it's wonderful. And we are coming back, Bishop. We will actually be launching. April is a big comeback month for us. For the people who followed the show, know about everything going on. April's a huge comeback for us. We are releasing a Kong episode, I believe, on Monday. Tomorrow is releasing the start of our micro review series. We have 4 Nerds by Nerds coming through. We get dubbed. We're doing all April, all crossovers. And my first wrestling episode of the show, where Bishop doesn't know because I'm just telling him this now, he's going to be my guest of honor for that one.
Nice.
Yeah. We're going to have a good time, though. April's a big month for us. You can follow us on Twitter at Night of the LP, Night with a K. And, just come join the shit show. But,
Fantastic.
Bishop, thank you for having me. And
you got it, man.
Let's get this WrestleMania. Let's get ready to rumble.
So, in honor of Brunch with Bishop, I'm going to pop some Asti Spumante. It was a gift. But let's... Just for Mr. RedFox, not the dead black comedian.
Celebration. Well, I have Jameson in a Wawa cup because I'm from Philly, so of course Wawa had to be somewhere.
The most Philly thing you can do. Oh, I love it.
I
love it. Here we go, pal. RedFox, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. Clink. Oh, that's rough.
Oh, Chaos. Chaos spent a lot of time in Virginia. He said, okay, I either hear Maryland or Pennsylvania accent there. It's full Philly accent, baby.
Oh,
Chaos,
Philly.
Enjoy the fucking ride. My man, Just in Time 211. Oh, this motherfucker. Fly, Eagles, fly. Oh.
On our way to victory.
All right, I'm going to mute for a second. Shouts to Just in Time 211 in the Twitch chat. Just in Time, thank you for being on the NXT show that we had. What was that? Friday. No, April 1st. April Fool's Day. It was not Fool's. It was fun. I'm not sure if you got a chance to listen to that episode. Me and Just in Time 211 talking NXT TakeOver for next week. Had a blast. He did a great job. Got awesome feedback from our side of the internet wrestling community, where we talk shit, but we spread love, not hate.
Getting my Twitch loaded up too, so I can see the chat.
Hell yeah. Occasionally, so the way I stream, I use a service called Restream, and it goes to Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook all at the same time. And they have a chat that filters all the chat to me.
Oh, okay.
And I can respond to all different platforms. For the most part, though, everything comes through Twitch. It's the easiest way to interact. Periscope usually is on a little bit of a delay. Twitch is usually pretty straightforward, real time.
Yeah, but I mainly fuck around in Twitch, mostly because I don't really know how to use a lot of the other ones. I tried YouTube Live for a while, couldn't get past it. A lot of our other stuff got taken down from YouTube for all kinds of weird shit. I'm still learning the laws of the internet, so
sure.
There we go.
Sure.
Yeah,
let's see.
Put that
here.
retweet out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the hardest. You know, when real quick, when you said you were your first episode back before you're gonna have an episode back again, you had mentioned that somebody wanted to take over your Twitter account, and I'm like, man, I really just might need some type of social media producer, someone on top of my shit, so I can focus on the production aspect, or I need a producer who can cut clips, put me back out on social media with clips of the show, even break down my Twitch clips. Because at the end of the day, I just don't have the time to do all of that
My
shit.
problem.
And I
That is
know
my
I have the
problem.
time. I know I have the time to put out quality product. Because I mean, the responses I get back from guys like you, Graham, Chaos. I mean, there's so many people that reach out to me like, "Yo, your show's dope." I'm like, "Thanks." And I look at my subs and my listenership, and I'm like, "Is it though?" Because you know what I mean. But I think
Yeah.
it's about staying in the face of people. Like we were talking right before we got online here. You've noticed your podcast grow just through social media engagement, even though you haven't been on the air.
Right. Right. Which was kind of odd for me because I took all March off, and March, like I was saying before, I went up a lot of downloads in March. I give it all on social media, like, and really, my podcast only has Twitter to go off of. And we have
Okay.
our Twitch for our weekly game streams and shit like that, and just to shoot the shit with people. But for the most part, all my podcasting is done through or it's due through Twitter. But like, yeah, so someone wanted to use my Twitter, tweet my tweets for me, run my Twitter account. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
As much as you're absolutely right, though, it would free up so much fucking time.
Yeah.
Because my biggest problem is I'm cursed with the gift of creativity, and I have
Yeah.
so much like shit. I have pages of a backlog written out of episodes, what to do, how to do them, people to bring on for them. But I lack the time to be able to do them, and not just the time, but not just to do them, but to edit them, to
Right.
add people's promos in, add sound effects. I don't have the time for all that. And as much as it would help for people to have someone help me with my Twitter and all the responses and engagement I'm in, I wouldn't feel right not genuinely know that people are talking to me.
Right.
Like, I need to be involved so I could tell people how much I fucking hate this movie. Like, you need to know my rage for it, or else when I do the show and I talk about that movie, I ain't got nothing to go off of.
Right.
Because it wasn't me that you guys talked to; it was whoever's running my Twitter page.
Yeah, that
But
makes a lot of sense, and that's how we got connected. Is like from day one, you're posting. I don't even know how it came across, like what the secondary tweet was, because somebody had to put your shit out in front of me, and I was like, oh, I fucking hate this movie, but it might have been
yeah,
like Freddy. It might have been Freddy versus Jason that was dope. I'm like, it's
we're
the
doing
only
that
horror
in April.
movie I like. Something like that, right? Because I know that's one of the ones you put out there. I'm like, but Freddy versus Jason was fucking hysterical. It's kind of, it actually is kind of scary if you're watching it too late, too dark. Like, but
Yeah,
at the end of the day, like they made such a great move and whatever. And we got to talking, and then you put up another one that like I had a similar opinion, and I'm like, and then the way we interacted, because you have a specific way of talking about these things that you're passionate about. I'm like, oh, I know this guy. I know everyone like this guy. And then I listened to an episode. I'm like, this motherfucker. Of course I know this guy. I live in Delaware. That Philly accent. I know these people. And most of these people are assholes, but when they're smartasses like this guy, when they're dickheads like this guy, I'm like, yeah, that's this guy. I know how to be that guy. I know who this guy is.
yeah, it was great. I remember that poll too. I remember you tweeted to me. You were like, "Stop with the terrible movie takes."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because you would always put up these absurdities, but it was also without me listening to your show. And the first episode I ever listened to of your podcast, and I recommend it to anyone who isn't into what you're generally into, which is the horror stuff. The Street Fighter episode. The way you
It
guys
was too
broke
sick.
down the absurd brilliance of what Street Fighter was, and the way that you guys were talking about it, I'm like, that's what a podcast is. It's guys hanging out, talking shit, but even if you're bashing something, it's still with reverence for what it is. I'm like, that's exactly what Street Fighter was. Street Fighter's not supposed to win an Oscar. It's supposed to be absurd. It's a movie based off of a video game. Now, the other side of that is the way this fucking Mortal Kombat movie's looking. Because I don't know what the hell we're gonna get when that comes out.
I'm waiting on that one. I'm waiting on that one, man. We're actually recording. I wouldn't say it's on Thursday, maybe Thursday.
Okay.
We're recording part one of our Mortal Kombat episode. We're actually recording part one, which actually I got the idea from you when you sent me the trailer on Twitter. I reached out to a buddy of mine about doing a review of the trailer.
Okay.
So I'm going to review the trailer, talk about some of the older movies, and then in part two of the episode, in the other half of the episode, which will be recorded fucking 2 weeks later,
Right.
it's going to be reviewing the actual movie.
Oh, dope.
Which I plan on being absolutely hammered for. Also, 9 times out of 10, I'm drinking on the job.
Yeah. Well, I watched one of your Twitch streams with you guys were playing some zombie shoot up game,
Resident
and
Evil.
you were taking piss breaks to make sure you can drink more while still
Oh, yeah.
achieving the goal. And I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely. Shout to Chaos Theory Pod in the Twitch chat. Said make sure to watch Title Match Network May 1st for Mission Pro. Locked in. Yes, he is sponsoring the show. I saw the poster. Shout to Mr. Chaos, man. Mission Pro Wrestling, Thunder Rosa's all-women's organization.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. I haven't had a chance to watch, but all the clips I've seen, the women are insanely talented, insanely athletic. So I do have to get on mine to actually be a part of what they're doing. But once WrestleMania is over, I'm ready to refocus my energy on just quality shit. He also says the easiest way to cut all that time out is a Rodecaster Pro. I get it, Chaos. I get it. Okay, you're doing dope shit, and you want us all to do it too. Okay, fucking love that guy. He's awesome.
Actually, I think I had them on. I think I talked to them on Twitter before, if I'm not mistaken. I'm more good with seeing people's logos to remember who I had the conversations with.
Shouts to the cat.
Yeah, cat's a crackhead, man.
Hey, we got pussy here.
Yeah,
All right, well, shit, man. You want to get into it? Start talking some wrestling?
Yeah. Okay. So I got something I wanted to ask you about.
Go ahead.
Because
Shoot.
before we got live, we were talking about the real people being pissed off about the realism in wrestling. Like I was saying about how everyone's annoyed with Bray Wyatt and like the Fiend, like people who think it's a dumb character and all. The character's supposed to be this. At what point did you think, like his first match, he broke Finn Balor's neck?
Right.
That was absurd from there. He pulled out a giant fucking mallet. Like, the character's supposed to be this.
Right.
Like, I don't want to see the Fiend put someone in a figure 4.
Right.
Like, that's more absurd to me.
Now I do. Now I want to see it.
I'm with it. I mean, you throw him in a TLC match. Like, when people were saying he's going to return at the Royal Rumble.
Right.
And what? He's going to walk into the Royal Rumble, just start chucking people over the fence?
Right.
Like, I can't see those supernatural characters in a actual wrestling environment because they're not meant for that. They're meant for the sports entertainment part of it. You get your classic wrestling with your Daniel Bryans, your AJ Styles. Like you get your I don't want to say mat based, but your technical style wrestling with them. Not everyone wants that. Like I get it. That's wrestling. It's all sports entertainment in WWE though. That's why you get a little bit of everything. You can't expect super realism out of the fucking giant murder clown. Like you can't. So that brings me to my question here. And I didn't listen to your NXT one because I wanted to know how you thought about this.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on Boa and Xia Li and the 1,000-year-old dragon warrior ghost that's training them?
I absolutely love it.
Okay, thank God. I'm so here for it.
I think it's easily the most investable storyline because you have, again, they're telling a story, and in that story, you're actually seeing the results in the performer. So someone like Xia Li, who struggled to get her footing, she comes out on the back end of it stronger, harder to like a more hardened body. You know, she's absorbing punches and strikes and all that shit. She's not showing vulnerability. And when you're doing that, it doesn't matter what the backstory is per se, if the end result, it's all fluid. No,
Right. It's a
of
better
course she's not
performer.
possessed. Yeah, yeah. Oh, dude, if you go back and listen to that NXT episode, you'll hear me like fucking basically thirst over her like I'm drooling out the mouth, because she goes then on Twitter and posts fucking bikini pictures and shit, and I'm just like, I absolutely love you. And then she goes on to NXT and she's like, I will stab you with a sword and choke you out. And I'm like, well, please do that too,
Yeah,
because
like, I
she's
want all
so
that.
yeah, she's so intense. She's so inviting. She's so the character now. And before that, I was a fan, because so the way I watch wrestling today, you have to look the part, and then you also have to be the part.
Yeah.
It starts there. So Xia Li's always looked like a wrestler, and she was always a fantastic performer. I never had a thing to invest in. This is something to invest in.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
I think the way me and Justin kind of laid it out at the end of the NXT episode is, when we look at fantasy booking going forward, because it's not something I do because I always get let down. This whole Xia Li thing is happening in a vacuum of 5 performers, and none of them are close to any type of title scene. So
Right. No
they're
major
actually
storyline.
right. They're actually building a character, but they're also building Kaden Carter, Casey Catanzaro, Boa, and Mei Ying, who's sitting in the chair. When she
Right.
grabbed Caden's face and choked her out, and then blew the smoke and laid her down, like, that was so impactful. It was about 12 seconds, and we've seen nothing of Mei Ying, and now it's like, oh, she's nothing to be fucked with.
But yeah, I
Before,
want to see her get in the ropes.
yeah, yeah.
Give her
So
the
when
hot tag and let her run wild.
so if I'm gonna turn on the Avengers, which I watched Endgame 11 times. In some point in that movie, I cried all 11 times. Okay? But if I looked at it and go, well, there's no way they got that many people there at the end scene. How did Falcon fly? He doesn't fly. He can't fly in real life. Then I'm
Right.
an asshole. I'm not going to turn on the Avengers and go, well, can I get an Iron Man suit so I can fly around? No, it's CGI. Fuck CGI. Like, no, you're an asshole. So don't be an asshole and turn on wrestling and go, this is too absurd for wrestling. No, it's fucking wrestling.
Right.
Everything's absurd. It's an athletic competition that's predetermined, but if you're not watching it for entertainment, then you're the asshole. If you're not entertained, that's different. That's different. It might not be your cup of tea of entertainment anymore, but I'm entertained. I got t-shirts at twtxpodcast.com/twts. This hat is a one-off. Me, Justin, and Graham have one, but I'm so into this that I have a podcast with merch. I'm having fun. And if
Right.
you don't want to have fun, you're on the wrong side of the IWC. I don't think, not everybody has to like it. That's for sure. Not everybody has to like it. And honestly, I said this. I said this at the beginning of the Xia Li stuff. I said, be careful on making this stereotypical Chinese culture that's
Right.
displayed on TV, right? Because you could have gone down the, speaking too much Chinese, martial arts at face value, too hokey with the noises and all that shit. This was done with reverence for a story I know nothing about, the mythological dragon thing, but it was sewn together to show you the production of what happens when that dragon enters the scene. And I think it's done phenomenally. I don't think they've missed whatsoever on it.
No, and you know what? And I like how you put that there too, because you know what? Yeah, that was the biggest problem. Well, not the problem. The biggest thing I seen where I was like, oh shit, like be a little careful here, guys, because you could start getting into leaning too much into the stereotypes. But then, like, a lot of people who immediately jump on Twitter, the fucking mutants on Twitter who jump on and immediately, oh, this is racist. You
Right.
don't think Xia Li didn't sign off on this? Like,
I said the same thing about Apollo.
oh my god, same thing with fucking Apollo, dude. Like, remember, especially when it comes to a race thing, it is not the fucking 90s. I know Vince had this power stroll and all, but it's not like the Attitude Era where you do this, I tell you to do this. It's
Right.
going to be racist and you're just going to do it. Nowadays, say Xia Li was pitched the idea, said, I don't want to do that. That's fucking racist. They're not going
Right.
to force you to do that. Because
Correct.
imagine saying that. Well, why are you off TV? Oh, I don't know. If they wanted me to pretend I was some Chinese martial artist because I'm Chinese.
Right.
Like, bam, negative press.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I get the WWE can absorb a lot of that, and they do absorb a lot of that on a daily because it's nothing for them.
Right.
But at the same time, do you want to deal with that headache?
No.
Like Xia Li probably seen it, was like, you know what? Fuck it, it'll get me on TV.
Right.
Because I
Right.
haven't seen much of Xia Li since she was in the Mae Young Classic.
Yeah.
Then I seen her have a great performance at I think the 2019 Women's Royal Rumble. She came in for a bit, did pretty solid. But like even Boa, fuck was the last time you seen Boa?
Who is he?
All this?
Who is he? I have no clue who he is.
Who, Boa?
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, in context. Before this, I had no clue who the fuck he was.
A lot of people didn't.
Right. He comes out with the contract or the paperwork to Xia Li as she's getting her ass kicked 6 weeks before they display whatever the fuck this new thing is.
The Grand Dragon Ghost Warrior.
It's
she's
amazing.
So cool.
It's so done
cool.
well.
And also,
Chaos Theory, real quick. Chaos Theory in the Twitch chat says everybody on the wrong side of the IWC can eat dicks. Shouts. Also, he says the Xia Li angle is dope as fuck and super creative way of using somebody who wasn't doing anything. Exactly what you said. Justin Time 211 agrees. Use her background and turn it into a dope character. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. And at the end
they're
of the
taking
day,
their time. They're taking their time and showing you the strength in who she is.
Right. And she's also, again, she's signed off on it.
Yeah.
Like, because you know what? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Like, there's nothing. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. There's nothing that they're saying or doing that's problematic.
Right.
Like, okay, she's embracing her culture and using her culture in a way to show her character. And the result, Xia Li, I could buy Xia Li challenging for a title in 6 months.
Absolutely.
Can. And fucking just fucking that kick that she did.
Oh my God. Casey
Catanzaro. Catanzaro, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, also, wait, I got to make this joke here, but I think it was about 3-4 weeks ago when Casey Catanzaro first started beefing with Xia Li and them.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got your head kicked in, and your first thought is, let me go confront the 1,000-year-old mythical ghost dragon.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what kind of crackhead are you?
No, it's insane because the logic. Well, here's the thing: if you want to like defend it, you just say she doesn't understand what all this is, and she's looking for answers because Xia is her friend.
Right.
The fact that they keep going back after that moment, that's a problem. Especially when Kaden walked up the ramp in this last match and was like, what's going on? Oh, let me get throat choked and fucking... And it was supposed to be a tag match. And I'm like, yes, this shit looked fucking great. It was so good. So good. And you say 6 months? If Xia Li walks out on Tuesday and stands in the face of... Or not even... If you have, let's say Raquel wins, right? And I want Raquel to win so bad.
I want Raquel to win.
But Io is so good. Either way, let's say one of them is in the middle of the ring on Tuesday. Starts to cut a promo. They say like 6 fucking things. The lights drop. On the CWC screens is all the Mei Ying, fucking Tian Sha shit. Xia Li standing at the top of the ramp next to Mei Ying and Boa. And then Xia Li steps right in front of her. And just stands there. Cut the black, go to commercial. Do you believe her as a viable contender? Do you go, oh shit, Io's in trouble? You believe it now. You don't believe it in 6 months. You believe it now.
Yeah.
She is so fucking... And not only that, like you said, the kick to Casey Catanzaro.
That kick's awesome.
She's so technically sound. She's so proficient in every move she's doing. She's not missing. And the fact that she's not missing is the believability in the storyline, is the believability in the ability to wrestle. It's fucking great, man. It's great.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, too. I actually wouldn't mind, too. And I also try not to fantasy book because I let myself down. Just because look.
Yeah, you fantasy booked the Lance Archer episode and you never did it.
Oh yeah. I need him. I need him to win everything at all times. I would like to see if you turn Io heel. I'd be all right with turning Io heel and her joining Tian Sha or whatever the hell their stable is. Dude, like that'd be awesome if they came out at the end after Io loses and they're just there on the ramp.
Right.
It's like,
oh, they pick her up to break her down.
In next week.
Oh yeah.
Like, I have to. I need to know. Is Io going to join the giant ghost dragon?
Right. No, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
I do want Raquel Gonzalez to come to win that belt.
Why is she so good? You know, I said this I said this on the NXT episode, and people talk shit. Well, all right. So here's my biggest problem. What's happening with Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks is something that they're doing, or they're doing with Raquel that they didn't do with Bianca, which is give her matches to make her look dope leading into the title match. Bianca wins the Rumble. We get she's athletic, but where's the in-ring work?
Cool. We're talking about this because I got a lot on this.
So all right, fuck it. Let's get into it. She had a match with Carmella. Here's my beef with Carmella on SmackDown, and this match in particular. They made Carmella as well as she looked in the ring, because she has been on another level since she came back. She is very fluid in her work, which was a big problem, I would say, like 2-3 years ago.
Oh, yeah. She improved a lot.
Oh, yeah. Carmella gets an entrance, right? And then it goes to commercial. Then they do a KO Sami Zayn thing in the back. Then they show a vignette on Bianca. Then Bianca gets a promo and comes out. 5 fucking things happen in between Carmella getting an entrance. Are you fucking kidding me? Where's the value in Carmella?
That was the first time she did that new entrance, right?
No, it's the first time we've seen it in about, I don't know, 8 weeks, because she hasn't been on fucking TV. But it's the first time she did it without Reginald.
She just runs in. It's not like an entrance.
Well, the first time without Reginald, because she did the screen thing where she's dancing behind it has been her thing since she came back.
I don't think I ever fucking noticed that. We were watching that earlier, but then again, like you said, she hasn't been around.
She hasn't been around, yeah.
Because we were talking about that earlier, about how I was like, who the fuck is this? And I realized it was Carmella. I was thinking in my head, too, like, when the fuck was the last time she's ever been there? Because I remember seeing her in run-ins, or she's in the backstage slapping Reginald, which Reginald needs to fucking... Dude, just put him in the cruiserweight division, and I'm all for it. But
right.
All right, I'm just going to go in.
Go ahead. Let it ride, man.
Dude, they fucked up this entire storyline, all right? Bianca Belair won the fucking Royal Rumble. Should have been good enough.
Yep.
Stop fucking putting the challenger and fucking champion together in this whole will they, won't they get along as they try to fight to get the tag belts that they don't fucking need, because who has ever had the tag belts, then fought for their belt and then stayed tag champions? Like, it's pointless. I hate those women's tag belts. They shouldn't have made new ones in NXT. They should have went down there. Who was it that Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, I believe it was, should have just beaten Jax and Baszler for it.
No, Dakota and Raquel. But either way, if you had Shotzi and Ember beat Dakota and Raquel in the finals of the Dusty Cup, you could have had them take the belts off and just leave them down there. Because I think at the end of the day, they are better served in NXT, because NXT, as we've seen, puts shit together better than Raw and SmackDown does.
NXT has one of the absolute greatest fucking women's divisions. Like, they should fuck sending them to the NXT to the main roster. Send the main roster girls down to NXT to fucking learn how to put a story
learn how to
together.
do this shit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because like, I mean, you look at they broke up what was it, the Iconics. Yep. Broke my heart.
Yep.
Broke my fucking heart. But for what? Billie Kay's just wandering around. I hope she gets a tag match with Bayley at WrestleMania for the belts, because as of right now, if I'm not mistaken, there is no WrestleMania match for the belts yet.
Correct.
Put them two together. But Peyton Royce was tagging with fucking
Lacey Evans.
You broke up the Mandy Rose thing, that was unavoidable, so I won't even say that.
Yeah.
That was tragic what happened to Sonya Deville. That was some sad shit. But like the women's tag division in general, you just throw people to fuck together.
Yeah.
Like, you got Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, which they look like they could be a fucking unit.
Yeah.
But the minute they get 1 or 2 matches in, it's a bust. I mean, look at Tamina and Natalya.
Yep.
I actually buy them as a credible fucking tag team. That little heart attack move that they just put down on SmackDown yesterday, modified heart attack, awesome. But the problem is that you won't go all the way with them.
Yeah. Well, that was my problem about Raw. Raw this week, they spent over 2 hours with a bunch of bullshit, and within 25 minutes, they smashed together all the women's segment on Raw. Yep. And when you have And look, I'm kind of conflicted because we have a 2-night NXT that looks fucking epic, and we have a 2-night WrestleMania that seems almost gratuitous. Yet it's a 3-night because next week's SmackDown has the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, excuse me, and the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Do we have?
Why though? But why?
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. Do we have too much talent, too many belts, or not enough creative to make the shit work? Because at the end of the day, I think if the Apollo Big E storyline doesn't have the IC title, we're still tired of the match. I think this new development in Apollo is what helps the IC title mean a little bit more in the story because he had to change to this person, not just to beat Big E, but to gain the title. That's my perception of what's going on here. Because everything else that's happening within WrestleMania seems like there's either too much going on not around the titles and not enough going around with the titles. Like you said, the women's tag belts. But what they drummed up together on NXT for the women's tag team titles, they did in about an episode and a half to get Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, against Shotzi and Ember, and it makes sense. I think it still feels gratuitous, but when you have to do it, you do it that way, and you're like, well, fuck it, that's going to be a good match. Now they did they put 5 women's tag teams together on SmackDown last night, and they still didn't announce a match. Is it going to be an eliminator? Is it going to be a gauntlet match? Is it going to be, and where's it going to go?
All the tag teams in WWE, to me, though, they need to do something with the tag team division. Hire a separate set of fucking writers. How Daniel Bryan's been helping with the mid card. Find a great wrestling mind to help with the tag team division.
Sure.
Or bring back Teddy Long. Bring back, because you know what? Just for that, you're gonna get a one-on-one match with the Undertaker player. But bring someone in to help with the tag division. Because, like, perfect example, why the fuck are we having this match on Friday when we just had that same match on SmackDown this Friday? We're having the same match, but for the belts this time.
Right.
And that's a trope that WWE does a lot before pay-per-views that I hate, where it's like the Elimination Chamber. Well, let's make them run a gauntlet first the night before. We're about to watch them all fight each other on Sunday. Right. You waste these things, and it's not the first time ever now because it's not the first time they're all fighting each other on the pay-per-view. I just seen this match in a different context.
Right.
But the tag division in general could use, like, get rid of one set of belts. Combine them. Right. Like, I really, really thought that the perfect time they could have did it was when the Street Profits and the New Day switched the belts between each other.
As a draft. Yep.
Right, during the draft. I would have liked for them to do that and then just stop right there midway through and be like, or we could just do winner take all. Unify them. I mean, there was that was right after, a little bit after the last WrestleMania, because the draft's always a little after Mania, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was closer to Survivor Series because they did it twice, because that's when Alexa and the Fiend switched from SmackDown, and Sheamus went from SmackDown to Raw as well. And I was like, man, and I can't believe another thing I want to do with my podcast is transcript my terrible wrestling takes into posts on the website. That too. But I want to blog on my website, twtakespodcast.com, twtakespodcast.com/twts for all t-shirts. I want to transcribe them on there because I called it. I said, when Sheamus gets drafted over to Raw, he should be the next one in the title picture. And as you've seen, what he's doing with Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre is carrying what is happening before the match happens, and he's getting no love in the title picture. But he's the one putting these matches together and making Drew and Bobby look like fucking animals. And he's selling his soul for this shit. I don't know if you saw the clip on Twitter yesterday of after a match, he's so exhausted, so expressed with emotion. Cesaro comes up to congratulate him, and he just fucking breaks down, telling Cesaro how much he loves him. And I'm like, fuck, man. It get a little tweak in me. Like, ever since being a dad, I cried everything. So a little bit tweak in me. I'm my eyes are welling up a little bit. I'm like, okay, I'll keep the tear in. But still, the fact that they put this much of their body on the line and not to get rewarded, at least for what I want to see, I'm like, fuck, man. And I called it. I knew Sheamus would be the right move. I also knew that this Alexa Fiend thing would turn out to be fucking amazing, and it is. And anyone who shits on it can suck my nuts. But yeah, Sounded like RedFox kind of agree with merging the tag divisions. Yeah, Just in Time
Yeah,
211 has
just
been
in
calling
time.
that out for fucking weeks, bro. Months. He's been calling that out.
Yeah,
My only problem with that, look, my only problem with merging the divisions is right now they have a hard enough time finding tag teams. I don't know if you merge a division, you actually get any other tag teams. Like, it took
right,
them this
right.
long to have five women's teams, and they have a plethora of women on the roster. How many tag teams? Like, here's okay, for instance, does Otis and Gable exist if there's no SmackDown tag team titles? You know what I mean? So I
Right.
don't know if they. My only concern is that they would just focus on 2 tag teams instead of trying to focus on 4 tag teams. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. Because you know what? It's been a long time since they have a big problem with if it's not for the belts, there no other tag teams have storylines until belts are
Right.
involved. And then
Right.
also with the tag teams, you worry about Vince breaking people up. Like they broke up fucking the Hurt Business.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Dude, I'm in. I love the Hurt Business. I was so fucking with that. You didn't need to break them up. Tucker and Otis, Heavy Machinery. Didn't
Right.
need to break
Right.
them up. Like
Right.
that's the problem. If they don't show enough love to the tag division to where
Yeah.
you're right though. Merging it seems like a good idea until they're focusing on 2 teams instead of 4.
Right.
And then
Yeah,
that
that's my
becomes
only
the issue.
Right.
But like
That's
if
my
it's not the
concern.
Street Profits that have the belts, it's the New Day. And like right now, I love the Dirty Dogs. I'm really into Ziggler and Rude having the belts. I like that they actually kept them together as a team.
Yeah. About time
I'm
they got
glad
a
they're.
name.
What happened?
I said it's about time they got a name.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that was a thrown together tag team too. They kept them
Yeah.
together after they were with Baron Corbin for
Yeah.
the longest time. They kept them together, but they worked good. Like Rude and Gable, I thought was a solid tag team as well.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
Rude always does better as a heel than as a baby face. Did good though. Robert Roode slept on. He's a great talent. And also one more thing about backtracking to what you said about Alexa Bliss and the Fiend shit being great. Did you see on Twitter? I think I retweeted a while back when Alexa Bliss straddled Randy Orton. And it was like everyone on Twitter right now, and it was the gift of her straddling them, and then it cut over to Dolph Ziggler from 2019 coming out telling Kofi it should have been me. And I was just like, yeah, retweet, and save.
Nah, I missed that one. That's phenomenal.
I'm gonna mash the 2 together, and then
Nice.
print it out, put it in a frame, so that we all remember that it should have been me. It's all about what? Alexa Bliss. Then they got some creepy clown, fucking murder clown watching us from afar. I'm with it. Sign me up twice.
So you're definitely. I mean, fuck it, man. We'll talk about whatever we need to.
Yeah.
You're definitely in the horror. Like horror speaks to you. I've seen you put on Twitter that you'll watch the dumbest fucking horror movie of all time because it's an art form that you enjoy.
I watched a movie about a tire with psychic powers that went around blowing up birds. It's called Rubber.
What does that even mean?
No, it's exactly what it sounds like, man. It's an alien tire that just goes around and blows shit up with its mind. Actually,
Where is the mind? Where's the mind?
Don't matter.
In the treads?
The rubber tire, yeah. Right in the spokes. Dude, he's out there giving.
Oh, it's got a rim
jobs
too?
left and right. No. No, that's the best part. There's no rim. It's just a tire. Yeah, actually, one of our we're starting a new thing on the show this month called Movie Nights, and we're gonna do watch-alongs on Twitch, and we're gonna watch the movie, and because we can't stream it on Twitch, we're gonna be watching the movie and just talking about it on Twitch. But I'm gonna set it up beforehand, so if anyone wanted to watch it as well, it's gonna be movies that are available on free streaming services.
Okay.
Or popular streaming services. So I'll set the timer down. We'll all watch the movie at the same time, and I'll just be recording, talking to the chat about the movie.
Awesome.
And I'm going to put a poll up on Twitter. It's going to be 2 good movies, 2 terrible movies, and one of them is called Velocipaster, Man of the Claw.
So that's a preacher that's also a raptor.
Yes, correct. That is correct. Or if I find out what the release date is, we're definitely doing this sci-fi movie coming out called Sharks of the Corn.
Come on,
And
man.
the tagline says you're gonna get stalked.
Come on.
I have
How
to
do
do
you?
these things.
Why?
I don't know. I just have to. I
Now I did
just
hear
have to.
I did hear Renee Young when she was doing, or Renee Paquette on her Twitch channel. She said that watch-alongs with movies on Amazon, you can play in the background. So
Ooh.
I would look into the logistics of that. I think because they're affiliated or owned by each other, whatever it is, that if the
Uh-huh.
movie is on Amazon Prime, you can actually stream it behind you while talking shit.
Ouch. Oh, and I got Prime too. I'm gonna actually note that real quick.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so the point of asking you that about, so from the beginning, this fiend thing never bothered you.
No, no. From the beginning, this fiend thing was. I'm here for it. What that first entrance that he made, I was like, well, sign me the fuck up twice.
Yeah. So then let me ask you this: knowing that the OG fiend got burnt the fuck up, the revelation of who the new fiend is, do you buy in context of horror storyline?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And if I'm looking at this in a, let me put on my horror hat for a second.
Please do.
If I'm looking at this in terms of horror movie storytelling, I would give it one of those B-rate movies that are very good. Like one of those B-rate movies that everyone thinks is shit, but in reality, actual horror fans see it more as a cult classic. Um, it's great. This entire storyline has been awesome. Going back to the early parts of the Fiend when he first came in, it's very horror influenced. Tom Savini, who is special directs maker for a lot of the Friday 13th and all, he had a hand in building the Fiend mask and the
Yes.
lantern, um, as well as Code Orange doing the song, which is also just fucking awesome. But in the context of horror, it all works. You kind of seen the evolution of the character. You see, but think of it as a horror movie where you're watching from the POV of the killer, a
Right.
la Friday the 13th Part 1. He was going around killing people, wrestling, but taking wins on people who wronged him in the past. They had great foreshadowing the entire time with the Firefly Funhouse, with the pictures in the background of like Kurt Angle in the background, or John Cena
Right.
was hanging in the background. And we all know how Cena squashed him. Like
Yep.
the Firefly Funhouse match itself, I would buy that on Blu-ray in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
All of it though, in a horror aspect, it all works. And then bring it up now to his reinvention. I think his reinvention in this character is perfect because when he first came onto the scene, the first thing that he did was he took a chainsaw and he cut the old Bray Wyatt in half to show
Right.
that this guy is dead. But then you take it forward almost a year later to the Swamp fight, where Braun Strowman was fighting the old Bray Wyatt, and he let the
Right.
old Bray Wyatt come back, and it worked. But he's not that Bray Wyatt again. He evolved, and now he's this burnt, crisp fiend. And I think it's going to work out good. I do. I like, and also Bray Wyatt's great at storytelling this shit on Twitter,
Oh, fantastic.
dude. Like when he
So
posted
fantastic.
the thing of the cocoon.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so you're right there. You're teasing that it's coming back. And I think Randy Orton's doing a great job selling this shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we don't
absolutely.
get a Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania where, like, you know, the Fiend goes to shake his hand, or Bray Wyatt goes to shake his hand, and there's fucking cum on his hand or something from all those backstage stories, or like he gives him a bag and it's shit in the bag, like all these terrible things that Randy Orton has done.
So since you believe in alien tires, let me
Absolutely.
expound upon my my theory of what the Fiend is. The Fiend itself has always been an energy and an entity. It hasn't actually been the character we see. So that Fiend, so like what Alexa's doing is slowly being fully consumed and possessed by the Fiend energy. It has nothing to do with the old Alexa and the new person. Like, for instance, when Bray Wyatt was in the Funhouse, that was Cape Fear Bray turning into Funhouse Bray. What we saw on pay-per-views and matches was actually the Fiend possession of who Funhouse Bray was. And I thought it was brilliant storytelling that the next time we saw the Fiend on Raw, it was in the playground and the funhouse is dead because the fire actually united the Fiend energy and Funhouse Bray. That's
I
my
like that.
theory on what it is.
I like that a lot.
Okay, cool. And I'm not the horror guy, so I'm glad that I picked up on the story that they gave us because when it comes down to what, at least what I see, that's exactly what was told to me. That the fire united the Fiend, because there's no other way that Funhouse Bray could survive getting lit on fire unless he's fully consumed with the Fiend energy.
Right, right. You kind of get rid of the Mr. Rogers Fiend, and now here is the Flaming Murder Clown Fiend.
Yes.
And you have Alexa play the part of Mr. Rogers, Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And
like what I like about her character, she's
together.
getting she's progressively growing into a Fiend version of herself because every time she's on TV, and this is why a lot of people hate the storyline because they think she's being wasted, but every time I see her, I don't know if it's just my investment or not, but there's a percentage of her that's going from Alexa Bliss to whatever the end result of Fiend energy is, and that percentage keeps changing and changing and changing and changing. This is the first time on Raw where she was in full Fiend version of makeup.
Right, right.
Without transferring character. You know what I mean? Like she'll start as play and then she'll get into the match and she'll switch costumes and all that shit. This was just straight up post-match, I am my Fiend version, but there's still more levels to go and you can see that because she can still giggle it out. But if I would say this is the first time she's more than 50-50 on who her character is. She is now leaning in towards the upper percentile, and I would say maybe 70-30 is where she's at now, where it's 70-30 pain to play.
Right, which is great storytelling, too, in the sense of how you're seeing the evolution of it. Now, the Fiend's evolution to this new form took longer, but again, Alexa Bliss is playing off with the influence of that she has with the Fiend, and that's why she's going, like you said, 70-30 so very quickly, whereas let's just say 2-3 weeks ago it was 50-50.
Yeah.
Now it's 70-30, and it's going to be 64. You know, it's just going to keep going because she's influenced by this new Fiend.
Yeah.
Like, I think the whole Fiend storyline.
We should have saved this for your podcast. It's perfect. It's wrestling and horror. We could have spent fucking okay.
I got something for us, brother. I got something for us.
Awesome.
I do want to make some quick jokes about Randy Orton, if I may. Just quick question here. You set him on fire. What did you think RKOing him was going to do? Like, you set him on fire. Oh, better strap on this shin lock to him real quick. He ain't gonna see that shit coming. Like, you gonna punt him? You're gonna punt the guy you set on fire who came back? What are you gonna do to him?
So are you telling me that wrestling's absurd?
Well, look, I personally felt attacked when I seen that he was still burning because the average human could not sustain fire to that Yeah, I'm going to be one of those marks on Twitter. Like, I'm one of those mutants that'll be on Twitter and be like, Alexa Bliss doesn't possess the skills required to shoot fireballs. This is illogical. Take it off my screen. I still pay for the WWE network, but I'm going to complain about it. I pay to complain.
Oh man, I love it.
Yeah, it's lit. Literally, it's lit.
Literally.
But yeah, the whole
storyline's
fucking awesome, and I want to just know Randy Orton's whole mindset of like, set him on fire, RKO. There we go. Why didn't I think of that sooner? Just hit him with the RKO.
You know, and here's the thing: he did it again.
I know. I know.
When the burnt one shows up on Raw, he's like, "I'm gonna RKO you into this gas and then light you on fire," and it didn't work. Like, stop with the RKO. But what's it going to take? I don't know. And here's the thing. I know their WrestleMania match, because when I first got back into this, I gravitated right towards Bray Wyatt. And the entire build to their WrestleMania match, I think it was 33, whatever Orlando was. Maybe it was 34. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm here. Let's go. And what they did with the projections and all that stuff, it didn't land right. But when you look at what they're doing now, it's basically the same thing. Trying to add the external to the physical of what this could be. I think their match idea was ahead of their time because I didn't shit on it the way everyone else did because I understood conceptually what they were going for. Did it come off right? No. Was the match itself great? No, because they were relying too much on shit that didn't work. Like when they were projecting the worms and shit. This is still the same idea. It's just executed better. I'm wondering if we'll get, like, because you're saying a Funhouse match, and with the Funhouse not existing, I don't know what level they can go to, especially with a live crowd. But I'm wondering if maybe there's going to be some augmented reality, or if there's going to be, like Undertaker Lightning Strike kind of things that, when you're at the live crowd, it looks a little bit different than it does on TV. But for the sake of, maybe we do get some type of cinematic style match.
Yeah, I mean, I would be down for it because honestly, at this point, I feel like that's its best bet because the cinematic match would work. I think it would work even too with the live crowd too. I think it would work. It would also give them a perfect time to kind of COVID is still going on.
Right.
It's going to give them some time to get things adjusted. You got to imagine too, it's WrestleMania. There's many more hands on deck.
Sure.
Especially with people being there, there's a lot of risk. And WWE, unfortunately, people have their knives out for WWE to make any little mistake at all times. Cinematic match would work good depending on where you place it on the card. It would work great as an opportunity to kind of get back to square one while the fans are watching this 35-minute match maybe. Yeah. This 30-minute cinematic match, give them a chance to kind of reset back, give themselves some footing, which would be good. And also taking it back to what you said about with the House of Horrors match that they had and back then. You're right. This is the same stuff as then, but better executed. Because characters like Tien Shao and Bray Wyatt and all, like the Fiend. The problem always comes into all this is very entertaining, but how does it relate into the wrestling? Like, how does it translate into wrestling, which is where you have to kind of suspend your disbelief and understand that it's going to look a little gimmicky, a little hokey, but it's meant to. And that's why you're warmed up on all the character stuff. So when it comes into the mat, it's a little bit more forgiving, like watching the Fiend sell the stomp from Rollins.
Right.
And I think, honestly, they're doing the best that they could possibly do with trying to get these supernatural characters over. Well, not over, but like what's the way I'm trying to put it?
Just add believability. Yeah.
And translate the supernatural characters into an actual wrestling match. I think they're doing a great job. I think they didn't, they tried their best before. Didn't work. The Eater Worlds thing started to die out. But this works. They seen what they did wrong. They fixed it.
Yeah.
But you can't just continuously poke at, they could be doing this. Dude, start your own fucking wrestling show then. Please. Right. You become, dude, he's the Fiend, you're the fucking weenie, dude. Like, you're complaining about something that everyone else likes just to complain about it.
Yeah, and look, I'm fully on board. I've said this so many times. Wrestling is subjective. It's an art form, just like any other art form. It could be music, it could be movies, it could be food. There's people who don't like fucking quesadillas. I don't know, whatever. Like, there's so many. Yeah, like there's people who don't eat bacon. Like, they could, like, if you don't like it, that's fine. Don't tell me I shouldn't like it.
Exactly.
My whole beef with AEW, I stopped talking shit on it. All I said was, if you are gonna tell me that they're dope and I can see holes through why they're dope, hold them accountable. Everyone was calling the Moxley Omega match the exploding barbed wire death match, the sparklers on a pole match, sorry. They were calling that match fucking incredible, right? And then 2 weeks later, Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker put on a performance of the art form that overshadowed that match. If you held them accountable in their death match, when you get Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, you go, that's how you perform. Then they go, okay, we got to step our game up. We have to write similar. We have to perform similar. Not, we keep getting a pass. We keep getting a pass. Stop giving them passes. Hold them accountable and have them execute. You know what happened? They held Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton accountable for their Orlando WrestleMania match, and they're coming through now with some shit that's going to blow your fucking mind. And if they fail, guess what? They're going to be held accountable again. So that's all you can do in this. If you enjoy the product, no matter where it is, who it is, what it is, if you hold it accountable, there is a chance that on the back end, you will get what you want. But if you keep pacifying it, you're going to end up with shit product at the end of the day. You just go, oh, well, this just really isn't doing it for me anymore. Yeah, because they keep flopping around and landing on the floor and nobody's catching them and all kinds of bullshit.
Right. And you know, like if we can transition a little bit into AEW here, I 100% agree with you. I love AEW. I love it because I'm a huge wrestling fan. It's a little hard for me to be able to watch New Japan and whatnot. I watch TNA when it's, when something cool's going on. But I love AEW. But I also recognize the faults that they have. And I see it, and I'll hold them accountable for it because, like you said, you want it fixed, hold them accountable for it. You can't just keep turning a blind eye every time someone forgets a line, botches a move.
Right.
You can't keep turning a blind eye to it because then it's never going to get better. Like, if I was fucking up on my show, I would love people like you who tell me, like, dude, you need to get your shit together and start putting shit out. Like, I'd rather that than someone be like, yeah, you didn't put nothing out for a month, but, you got it, man. You're fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, whatever you're ready. Like, no, you want to be shown when you're doing something wrong so you could do it better. And the same thing with wrestling. People are so biased to AEW over NXT. And it's like, I love AEW much more than NXT. But at the same time, I recognize when AEW has problems. I fucking hate Cody Rhodes. I hate him. He's on screen. Bishop, let me tell you, I turn it to double speed. I do. I don't give a fuck about anything that he says. He's constantly whining, and like
he loves himself too, man. He loves himself.
and I get the storytelling of it. Like, I get all the things that people tell me. Oh, well, what you're not seeing is. It's like, no, I am seeing it, and I still don't enjoy it, which means to me there's an issue with it. Like, I haven't been invested in Cody Rhodes since he fought MJF. That's the last thing that I would ever invested in.
Same here, and I thought they blew it because the way they were building that story, you actually could have had a run with MJF as a babyface because, he's what, 24, 25 years old, right?
Yep,
his natural disposition is an asshole jerk-off that nobody likes. But you had investability in MJF as a mentee to the mentor of Cody. Mm-hmm. Had you ran with the babyface storyline of MJF, you would have had so much investability that you could have garnered the sympathy on Cody when the turn actually happened. They did it in like 3 weeks. Yeah, and then they had the match, and Cody won that match, right?
No.
No, Cody lost. Okay. I don't even fucking remember. I don't even remember.
Exactly. So
that's kind of my thing is like, you're not going to tell me, and I'm not saying that they had to because MJF does his thing, but like, for instance, okay, so let's throw this together. You're a big Lance Archer guy.
Love that Lance. Spot. He likes my stuff on Twitter.
Dope. By the way, probably the greatest nickname in wrestling.
Oh, the Murder Hulk Monster.
Dude, you gotta win. With names like that, you gotta win.
Okay, I got something good for that.
Well, hold on. So my whole thing was during that Sonic ring on a pole match that they had at the pay-per-view. Yeah. He's on all fours in between the ladder for like 2 minutes. And the camera kept cutting to him, just sitting there, looking at Scorpio Sky and whoever it was to do the move onto the ladder so he can take the bump. The camera would cut away and cut back, cut away, cut back. You don't have to shoot like WWE, but don't shoot it like I don't see what you're putting on TV. You're putting on TV Lance Archer waiting for the move when he's big as fuck and can get out of the ladder. No, he's just on all fours waiting for it to happen. That's a problem. That's a problem. You don't have to shoot it like WWE, but just don't shoot Lance Archer waiting to take the bump.
Yeah, don't Kevin Dunn it with the camera cuts. Two things with that. One, they have a big problem with camera cutting, especially I feel like they put the camera on people who they think that people want to watch. And that's why I hate playing with Cody. That Cody Shaq match with Jade Cargill and Red Velvet. It was a spectacle match, sure. But this is also Jade Cargill's coming out party. And to an extent, it was also the same for Red Velvet. But Red Velvet hit Jade Cargill with this fucking amazing spear that you didn't see because we were too busy cutting over to Cody and Shaq laid out on the tables.
Yep.
Which Shaq botched that, by the way, because you actually have to see the referee because Shaq gets in a position way too early, and the ref literally tells him it's not time yet, and Shaq like moves back over to the corner. But I mean, he's standing there telegraphing it, and that's a problem AEW has is, like you said, with the Lance Archer and cover and camera cutting. I don't want to see them waiting it out like that. You don't need to cut like WWE. And as much as I love the Lucha Bros and Penta and Ray Phoenix, one of my biggest problems with their matches is you see when they're going to be doing the dives over, you call it because the hard cam pulls out and you just see Kenny Omega standing there, right? Or the Good Brothers are just standing there waiting. Yeah, but like it waits too long. The camera cuts too quickly. I mean,
there was a moment. I don't remember which program it was. Oh, you know what it was? It was I think it was Jordan Devlin versus Kushida match, and Kushida had done a slide through the ropes, and Devlin did a moonsault off the ropes as Kushida slid through the ropes. So it was perfectly timed. And the one thing they missed, they camera cut to the opposite of the ring right before Devlin actually jumped off the ropes for the moonsault, and you saw Kushida looking up like he was going to catch. I was like, damn it. Had they just waited another half a second and kept it sideways,
it would look solid.
It would have looked so amazing because we wouldn't have saw that part coming. And that's all I'm saying. I have an extremely hard time investing in AEW because of stuff like that. I already know what I'm watching. I'm watching something that you guys need to put together, and it's really hard to do that. If you do it without me knowing you put it together, I'm good. It's like bad TV, right? Or it's like watching porn for the dialogue. Oh, I'm saying this. I'm saying that. I'm saying this.
What are you doing, Step Bro?
Right.
You know what Step Bro's doing. Come on.
No,
this
exactly.
is not your first rodeo.
Right. And why is his top button already undone? I don't understand. But no, I look, man, that's all I have on that. I don't want to get too far into AEW, even though we already did. I could care less anyway. We could fucking talk for 6 hours. I don't care. Yeah. And I'll put it out as one podcast.
I have one last thing with Lance Archer. I love him. I was trying to do a wrestling roundup thing back in March for it, but I'm gonna save all that shit for the first wrestling episode. I love Lance Archer. My biggest problem with him with AEW though is everyone dies. That's his thing. Yeah. But AEW books him like, well, only some people die. Right. Like not everyone dies. Right. Everyone dies, but not everyone. But just a majority of people die. But I also lose a lot, even though like he should be doing much more than that. You can't book a monster not as a monster.
Yeah, AEW did that thing where he showed up, he got his title match, he lost to Moxley, and then at the end of the day, he fucking he goes on like a 10-match winning streak, but nothing of importance.
Right. You even highlighted him in that match with what was it? Not Ibushi. Whoever Mox just fought in New Japan for the title, I forget it. Kenta. Like you even put him in there, and I get why, because Lance Archer is familiar with the style and can kind of help Kenta where there might be kind of some wrestling issues, like style differences. You want someone he's familiar working with to kind of help with the assist. But I thought even then, like he looked like a monster. He looked ready for a fucking belt. Put a belt on him. Like, don't wait. Because I feel like that's the problem too with AEW, that they wait to pull the trigger on things. I mean, Darby Allin, love him. Lose that fucking belt and lose Sting. Right. Kill Sting, please.
Like, and where's that? So the TNT title is their secondary title, and that's kind of the issue with, like we were just talking about WWE, right? You have the IC title in the Apollo Crews Big E storyline. You have the USA titles now, Riddle and Sheamus. And without those, you're basically Lance Archer and whoever the fuck else. I was going to say Eddie Kingston, but he's more important than that right now. But it's these secondary characters that you don't give a shit about because there's nothing there for them to give a shit about. And even when I tune in, and whenever I first saw Darby Allin, I'm like, okay, that's unique. His look different than anyone else. He's tiny as fuck. He does these things. I'm like, okay, shouts to Darby Allin. Every time he's on TV, he's not doing anything. And the story coming at him doesn't mean anything. And you have the title. So you're holding up the title and you're holding up storylines for yourself for investment purposes. So why do I keep watching? I don't have to. I'm the asshole for saying I'm still watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think Darby Allin's whole thing is getting ruined with Sting. Like, that's again a problem that they have is their overuse of some of these legends. And I know there's a terrible wrestling take right there because people hate that everyone says about them with the legends. And I'm fine with them signing ex-WWE people. People need work. They're good wrestlers. They shouldn't suffer from where they came from. But like Darby Allin's coming out, literally so Tony Schiavone can go, it's Sting. I don't care. Dude, I don't care that Sting's coming out. Like, why is Sting coming out to talk for 5 minutes and I haven't seen Ricky Starks have a match on AEW in weeks? Like, it takes time. Let's get back to WWE.
Yeah, man.
Because Wednesday's going to come around and going to remember this conversation and be cursing out Cody Rhodes. Like, yeah, Bishop's right, man. Fuck Cody.
Yeah, fuck Cody. I mean, you said it too, but my only problem with Cody, like, I'm not gonna. I think he's really good in the ring. I think everyone else in AEW has influenced his style to be too quick. That fucking shit with Penta a couple weeks ago, they hit Panama Sunrise or the Canadian Destroyer into a Cody Cutter so fast that it was a GIF and not even a fucking cut clip. That's a problem. Nothing registers, but it shows you that the Cutter is more important than a Canadian Destroyer. Don't do the Destroyer.
Right. Then also, just don't lose the Destroyer then.
Lose the Destroyer. He gets the biggest fucking entrances of all time. And then they want to say from the beginning that they're not WWE yet. Look, I didn't have a gender reveal party for my kid, right? We just knew we were having a baby and we were like, fuck it, let's have this kid. They had a fucking we're pregnant vignette, a gender reveal vignette, and I'm surprised they're not getting remarried on TNT. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he has a show coming out now.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Oh, Ms. and Mrs.? Is that what it's called? Oh, I thought it was called Ms. and Mrs. I'm sorry. It's the same fucking thing.
It's the same fucking thing. Like, dude, I hate Cody Rhodes so much, man. I do. Like, I do. I understand why they used to call him 3-star Cody back in New Japan. Like, dude, you're a whiny little bitch. All you do is cry about every little fucking thing.
Right.
Like, and it's sad because he puts on good matches, but then you start talking. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about anything that you just did now.
Right. And then he gets the big explosion when he comes out and he's like, yeah, fucking yeah.
I'm the prince of pro wrestling.
Yeah, dude, fucking relax. Justin Time in the chat says they have no idea to do with Lance Archer at all. Yeah, it's because whatever they have in their creative, they said it from the beginning that the wrestlers will be able to tell their own stories. And you can tell that there's nothing tying all the loose ends together. He also says that the Sting shit is worse because every week they do the same fucking thing. Exactly.
Him coming out to promote, all right. This is the last thing. I swear to God, we're getting back to WWE. That's the biggest problem with Sting is that they went through that entire fucking 6 months of them beefing with Team Taz. They want to put Sting on TV so badly that at one point Darby Allin was getting pulled in a body bag by Hobbs and Hook and them through the parking lot. Well, we'll find out next week what Sting has to say about it. Fuck you mean next week? Dude, there's 45 minutes left in the show. Go after him. Like, yeah, I'll see you next week. Next week, man, I'll tell you, Team Tad's going to get it. You can go get them right now. Next week. Cue that snow machine, dude. Let's do this. Like, man,
dude, I love
it. Dude, he's pissed. Like, yeah. Sting's pissed that what they did to Darby Allin. So mad he let it boil over for 7 fucking days to come out and cut the same promo he said before, just for Taz to get on screen. Like, Sting, you're old. Shut up.
So last thing I'll put on AEW as well. Justin Time in the Twitch chat says AEW is just about the elite, which nobody wanted in the first place, but now all of a sudden they want it. Blah blah blah. Fucking stupid. Look, this is my thing. If you want to look at what they did, this is where they really, really dropped the ball. Okay, when AEW first started, they did the right thing. Cody wasn't a champ. Omega wasn't a champ. The Young Bucks weren't champions, right? They did the right thing. The problem is, with Omega holding the title and the Young Bucks having the tag titles, Nobody else behind them is of importance except for Moxley. And Moxley is now becoming a slow joke of himself as long as he was the champion to begin with. And Jericho, I'll say it every time. No offense, my friend, no offense. But when you gain the weight you do and your in-ring performance shows, plus your 50, you do not hold the gravitas in the ring. So you're no longer the star if you keep stepping in the ring. Now, if he wanted to be the head of the inner circle on the mic, the way Taz is for Team Taz, and do it properly, that's different. But when you decrease your value in the ring, and nobody outside of the Bucks and Omega are of importance, you failed your first year as a business to build a wrestling company. They have a TV show, but they have no characters of importance beyond the Young Bucks and Omega right now, and that's a problem. They spent a full year with neither one of them having the title, and nobody's of importance. That's a problem.
Yeah, that is one of the issues. There's a lack of characters in AEW. Everyone's there, everyone's a great wrestler. But what's the story here other than they fought a few times on the indies?
Right.
Like there's no and a lot of times too, things aren't followed up on. And that's again, it's the problem. Like Penta came back, started beefing with Cody. They had that one match. Clearly this was going to be a thing. But now we're doing this QT Marshall shit.
Right.
Well, we didn't finish the Penta shit.
Right.
And you just kind of threw Laredo Kid in with the Lucha Brothers and to replace Pac because he's it's great wrestling, but they have a hard time telling stories. Hopefully it gets better because I'd like to see it succeed.
Right.
But at the same time, like you got to get it the fuck together.
No, for sure. And that's
Justin,
my problem with that's my problem with AEW fans not holding them accountable, is that if along the ride, because I wanted Hangman to be a champion from the beginning because I knew I would invest in him if he was a champion, right? And then coming out of the Omega storyline, he's not investable. You know, whatever they're doing with the Dark Order, RIP Brody Lee, whatever's happening there, it doesn't click for me. So I'm like, I see Hangman, I'm like, Hangman's dope in the ring. It's an awesome nickname that they're allowed to get away with because, you know, in today's PC culture, having Hangman's a tough one. But it's a good gimmick. He gets away with it. He performs incredibly well. Why am I not invested? It's the presentation.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and I think that's a big fault of what they do. But we can't shit on AEW all day.
No, yeah, all right. Let's get back to WWE and WrestleMania.
All right. So before we do that, we've been running for about an hour and 15 minutes. Let's take a quick pee break.
Gotcha.
I'll put up a splash screen. Let the guys in the chat know if in case anybody pops on. We'll take like a 5-minute break, if that, and we'll get back into it. We'll polish off SmackDown and get into WrestleMania.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll be right back. Are back. We are back.
Gang, gang.
All right. Yeah. Quick little pee break. Drinking a little too much coffee. A little bit too many mimosas. But hey, I got my pink shirt on and my pinky up, so I'm good.
Oh, damn! I knew I forgot to do something. Anyway, I'll save it for when we do our show. I had a little I had a little thing that I was gonna do to you.
Hey man, whenever you need me, just make sure it's post Mania season, and we'll coordinate it. But I would love to come on your show, man. The way you guys shit talk, whatever you do, it's gonna be awesome.
Such a good time. Yeah, honestly, I have a wrestling thing that I wanted to do. I want to do the first wrestling show I want you to come on for. But outside of wrestling show, though, even outside of that, I want you to come on for one of my theme things. Like we'll do something. We'll do something. I got all kinds of fucking fun shit.
No, man, you like you said, you're cursed with being a creative, and I think like that's again your topic. And I think we talked about this before it happened. Night of the Living podcast. Check out my man RedFox. Night of the Living podcast. The reverence you have for your own show, because you do like I do. You say we, and you even go, "What the fuck do I even mean we?" It's just me doing this, but you say it because this podcast or your podcast isn't about you. It's about expressing your ideas for yourself, but also people who think like you do. Yep. That mentality, and not even in a corny way. You're not alone in the way that you think. So you want to be able to express your thoughts, your opinions, and all that shit, and not just feel like you're yelling at a brick wall. You want to express it to the people who are like-minded, or even, again, I'm called Terrible Wrestling Takes, and I hit you with terrible movie takes because we don't agree. But what we do agree on is that there's content out there that you can have dialogue. So there has to be a we when it comes to dialogue. I say we all the time. And I said it a couple episodes ago. If I was to make like $10,000 a month on this podcast, I retire from my job, and this is all I do, I would give away these shirts for free. I would just order $1,000 a month worth of shirts, order them, send them out. Order them, send them out. I'm making $10,000. What do I need fucking t-shirts for? What do I need money from t-shirts for? You know what I mean? But meanwhile, there's podcasts out there that have like 17 fucking ad reads and still sell merch for a dime. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? It's too much about you. I get it. In this capitalistic society, we all got to get fucking as much money as we can. But I'm a man about my means. I know how to live my life. If somebody handed me $1 million tomorrow, I could retire. I know how to make that work for the rest of my life. And I got a kid. You know what I mean? Like, so we can get this we conversation going, because at the end of the day, I know I'm not talking to a brick wall. I know I have a base. I know that there's people out there that are like-minded. And even if not, we can come to some type of conclusion that maybe it didn't work out for me this week, but on next week's episode, it might work out. And
I'm bringing the heat.
Yeah. And when you guys, but the first episode I listened to was Street Fighter, and I think you had 2 or 3 people on with you. The way you guys went back and forth with absurdity and awesomeness and acting chops, like talking shit on Rod Julia, but then going like, but the dude's a savage as an actor. Like,
yeah, like, dude, he was dying during the entire movie. Yeah. He still brought it.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible. And so I cannot wait for you to get back on track. I cannot wait to join you for some epic shit talking where people can see me outside of my wrestling element. I've done movie episodes with my kid. We did Venom. I have recorded, what the fuck did we record that I didn't release? We did another one. I haven't released it yet, but we did Hulk Agents of Smash that we didn't release. Ghost Rider. Listen to that. I'll send it to you. We did Ghost Rider as well. The Nick Cage Ghost Rider. He fucking loves the movie. Talk about, perfection and absurdity. It's so corny. And then he goes, wait, Dad, there's a second one? I said, yeah. He watched it. He fucking loves the second one. The second
Spirit of Vengeance, another banger.
Dude, imagine that. A trifecta episode. Me, Junior, and you talking about Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
Your son is welcome on my show all the fucking time. You let me know when you want to do Spirit of Vengeance. I'm fucking with it. I'll put that down in my notes real quick. Dude, but if I can hold on 1 second, Spirit of Vengeance. Okay. All right. I gotta type that shit out whenever I come up with stuff. I use an app to keep myself organized because it's helping me a lot now with my April comeback. But if a few things I wanted to comment on what you said there. One, if I could do this for a living, sign me the fuck up. That's my overall goal.
Yes.
Is this? I quit my job in a heartbeat. I quit my job for the left side of a Twix. All right. Like you don't got to offer me. I quit my job for anything. I quit it right now just as a stunt. But if I can do this for a living, I'm with it. And I say we a lot, even though it is just me. It is me by choice. I like that I am not one of the most important things about me doing the show on my own. I also host another podcast called Drunken Gamers, which we've been doing that. It's me, my brother, my nephew, and my cousin, and we've been doing it for the better part of 3.5 years. It's not serious. We do them when we can. We have fun when we do them. We're not worrying about making a bunch of money off of it, nothing like that. My show, it was very important for me to create my own brand. That's why when I say we, it's because I'm speaking for my brand as Night of Living Podcast, as my my pen name RedFox. Like it, in the end, it's we, because I'm speaking for my show to the community. Like you said, there's always an audience out there. Like when I'm doing solo episodes, I'm not talking to myself, I'm talking to everyone listening.
Yeah.
Like I want to hear people's ideas on what I had to say about it. I want conversation regarding it. Like with the Street Fighter episode, it's a terrible, terrible movie, but it's for somebody. That somebody's me, baby, and bring on the conversations about it. But like with branding too, like you were saying about with the t-shirts, I'm coming up on our 2-year anniversary in May. My first year on the show, it was actually called something different. It was called Horror, Hentai, and Hand Grenades. I decided to change it up to get out of the horror anime business, like we were saying before the show. And I ended up rebranding to more pop culture because I just want to talk about everything. And it's been going solid, but I just put out our first shirts last Sunday. It's got our new logo, and then I made the other one for Pokemon, the Pokemon Cross Friday the 13th shirt, which Pokemon fucking flagged, by the way.
How about that?
Wait, pull it up a little bit.
Challenge accepted.
What is that? I can't see it.
You can't see it?
You ordered one of the shirts?
I ordered a shirt, bro.
Oh, my man.
Gauntlet drop, man.
Yes,
I got a website, twtakespodcast.com/twts.
Not a problem. As we talk wrestling, I'll be ordering the pink shirt.
See them all behind me?
I might as well tell you what I was gonna do then, because I had my lady get me a white t-shirt, and she was just gonna she has all the art shit right behind. Literally, what she was in the middle of doing was drawing me your shirt, because I was gonna just take my shirt off in the middle of it and have your shirt on and tell you it's copyright infringement. But I'm ordering the pink one, man. I need that pink one in my life.
Dude, it's
actually,
so
while we're
dope.
talking, I'm gonna go ahead and order that. Thank you for the support. A lot.
Yeah, you got it.
I got
man.
a couple people who got the shirts, and like they were telling my one buddy was telling me, I'll tell him about the shirts to give, but you only make like $4 off the shirt. I'm like, it's not about making the money.
Yeah.
It's not about it. I got money. I have money.
Yeah. Right.
And whatever I make from there is going towards the show. I'm not using it to pay bills or nothing like that.
Yep.
And that's the important part of my show, and why it was so important for me to do this on my own was because I could do whatever the fuck I want. Like I fund the show myself.
Yep.
I do everything myself. And I've even made the shirt. Well, I tried to make the shirts myself before. I spent like $275 getting these shirts made, and I had to refund literally about 80% of it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the night fell off of the shirt because the person made it with a cricket. It fell off. I sent everyone their money back. No one wanted their money back, but I couldn't do that to them.
Yeah.
But let's get into some wrestling, man. Let's get into some wrestling.
Yeah, man.
Shoot the shit about other stuff.
Shouts to Justin Time 211. He said his shirt got shipped as well. I saw he was amped for the Pokemon Friday the 13th crossover. Dude, Justin Time is the fucking man. Bro, I know you didn't want to be influenced in what we did today. Please, when you get a second, listen to, well, more than a second. We spent over 2 hours talking about NXT. My guy, Justin Time 211, shout you out till the day we're done, man. He fucking, since episode 3 and backtrack the first 2 episodes, has been a part of my show. He is called the Twitter co-host because 90% of what I used to talk about on the first 10, 20 episodes, me and him talking back and forth on Twitter. I will never, just like you said about giving people their money back even if they don't want it, I will never not give people credit on this podcast because it's about the conversation. And I've listened to 1,000 podcasts. I've given my input. I actually, one thing that really fucked me up, Mike and Mike in the Morning on ESPN, I sent them a tweet about an idea. They talked about it on air, the word for word, the tweet I sent, and never gave me credit for it. I was like, you know what? Fuck them guys. Never watched another episode. On this podcast, it's about the conversation. And shout out to Mrs. TW Takes and TW Takes Jr. They're listening on Twitch while they are walking around Walmart right now buying fruit for brunch tomorrow because we do brunch all weekend over here. JR, because he's a junior, Bishop Jr., Mr. Terrible Movie Takes himself, the Hammer, is geeking out right now at the ability to talk Spirit of Vengeance on Night of the Living podcast. So
I am fucking so with it.
Oh, we're going to have fun, man. It's going to be a blast. We'll get there. But yes, back to the show. Dude, this could be fucking, and the missus says hi. Dude, we can talk for fucking 12 fucking hours. I love this, dude. And we knew this was going to happen. I mean, we've been talking offline for months, and then we exchange numbers, so we text often. And I'm not offended when you don't respond. Believe that.
Oh, thank God, thanks. I'm terrible with it.
You know what? Fuck the rest of SmackDown. Actually, the only thing I do want to mention, Apollo challenging Big E to a Nigerian drum fight sounds so absurd, but in the works of the character, I go, that's a fucking phenomenal idea. I have no clue what it is, but it works, and I want to see it at WrestleMania.
And I was here for it.
Yes, what is it? I don't care. I don't care what it is. It's going to be at WrestleMania. Nigerian drums going crazy while the match is happening. Yes. And not in the Daniel Bryan way. Fuck Daniel Bryan.
Wait, fuck Daniel Bryan?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, because he's ruining the Edge story?
No. So, again, when I got back into wrestling, it was post-WrestleMania 30, so I missed the whole Yes movement, right? Okay. And I was a huge... When I saw... Okay. Quick recap of the Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast. I am completely influenced in fandom by coming back and seeing Roman Reigns and going, that's a fucking star. And Paige by saying, that's a woman who can fucking wrestle. So I was all in on women's wrestling from seeing Paige. And I saw Roman, I'm like, wow, that's a guy that doesn't look like John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, like the new prototypical. That's a new type of character that's a star. I didn't realize that there was this love-hate relationship. And then when it got to Fastlane, that following heading into Mania, and everyone's booing, the Rumble in Philly. Shout out to Philly.
My boys.
Everyone booing Roman Reigns at that Rumble because he wasn't Daniel Bryan. I'm like, well, fuck Daniel Bryan. The guy's 5'2". He wrestles, but every time he kicks someone, doesn't make sense. Every time he does a flying push out to the side, doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, it just, his moveset didn't make sense. Now, today, his strikes are more believable because he's more ground-based. He's doing less flying because of the neck injury. So I'm more invested now. But in the context of what everyone else thinks Daniel Bryan is, I didn't buy in because the style didn't make sense based on his opponents.
Right.
But I am into who the character is.
One of his problems too is that, you know what, I feel like, Bryan could drag a great match out of anybody.
Yeah.
But the problem is not everyone is able to reciprocate it, and then it makes his style come off wrong. Like, I wasn't a big fan of a lot of those matches against Jey Uso. Because, sometimes it's cool to see a clash of styles in the ring. Not everyone knows how to sell that very technical mat-based wrestling.
Okay.
Like, not everyone's able to sell that. And it does make Bryan's matches a little bit, not hard to watch, but hard to invest in. Because I'm seeing where they're not sure where the setup here is.
Right.
And again, I personally think Daniel Bryan he's like a wrestling genius, but the problem is not everyone can get to that level that you're at.
But you also have to bring people to that level. You have to. So when him and Roman had that Fastlane match 6 years ago, and everyone's like, oh, well, Daniel Bryan made Roman look good. No, Roman is that good. And he's shown you that he's always been that good. And that was my thing, is like, well, if you think Daniel Bryan's that good and you're giving Roman zero credit, then fuck Daniel Bryan. I'm riding this Roman train for 6 fucking years. So now that everyone is deep throating the tribal chief, guess what? I've been doing that for a long time. And not in a literal context. But anyway, this Roman thing, he's always been that good. And now that Daniel Bryan, post Planet's champion, post the Kofi Mania, he has done more work to slow himself down as a wrestler, that the achievement on the back end, for instance, the Universal title, the Intercontinental title, whatever it may be, pales in comparison to the work he does. So when he is wrestling a Jey Uso, maybe the matches aren't exactly what you're looking for in a Daniel Bryan match, but they're closer to what a Jey Uso match looks like. And when you do that, you are making Jey Uso on Daniel Bryan's level by adapting to his style, which is why I like the new Daniel Bryan. It's not about what Daniel Bryan does. It's about Daniel Bryan working with other talent. So the matches he had with Cesaro, when Cesaro fucking put him out, I'm like, yes, that makes sense. And not in the fact that Daniel Bryan lost, but how the match came together. So that's why I've been a big fan of the Jey Uso matches. And even the street fight they had on SmackDown last night, it felt gratuitous. The whole SmackDown was really fucking weird. At the end of the show, I tweeted out, like, am I the only one that didn't like SmackDown? This is really weird. Like, I don't know if I was supposed to like it or not, but either way, like, I didn't quite have fun. Because it just felt off. And supposedly, I heard on another podcast that SmackDown this week, next week, and the Raw for this week are all taped because they had to leave Tropicana Field. So if that's the case, then let's just blame editing for that.
Right.
But fuck it, man. Let's get into SmackDown next week real quick. We have the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way, because this is a WrestleMania too big for one night, too big for 2 nights. We got 3 nights. We have a WrestleMania SmackDown next Friday. Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. We got into it a little bit earlier on what the fuck is going on with the SmackDown Championships.
Yeah.
The Dirty Dogs, which is a decent name, yet we don't really have a graphic for it. We really don't have their own music, and they don't really call them that.
2 dogs kind of just shagging each other as their their thing. Like I don't know why I need that.
Are we getting?
I need it until I see it, and then I want to know why I asked for it.
That's funny.
I'm sorry. Continue. SmackDown
so we got the Dirty Dogs as champions facing the Street Profits, the Mysterios, and Otis and Gable. Now, for the sake of what's dope about wrestling, I think if the Mysterios walk away as tag team champions, you have such a moment that is almost the inability to recreate. For instance, Ken Griffey Jr.'s rookie year, he hit back-to-back home runs with his dad. The only time in history, in baseball history, has a home run by the father been followed up by a home run by the son. How fucking awesome is that? That's is an opportunity
moment.
You know what I mean? And it's on a SmackDown, but how else do you have the dopest moment on SmackDown leading into WrestleMania than have the Mysterios win the tag team championships?
And that's kind of why I wanted it to be on WrestleMania, because, like,
I agree.
It would have been awesome. Like, to say, like, a legend of the industry and Rey Mysterio. I think Dominic's doing great in the ring. I think everything's going good. There's 2 things I would like to have happened with him. One, I wouldn't have mind seeing him go down to NXT for a bit. And honestly, I wouldn't mind Ray going down there with him, and the 2 of them feuding with Legado del Fantasma.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, LDF.
Dude, that would have been great. Or I really, really want to see him turn on his dad. But it would be cool if they won the belts, had a good reign, Dominic starts feeling himself a bit, Ray doesn't like it, and then, because they kind of started hinting towards that a little bit before, with Ray telling them, like, hey, we're going to do it my way now. And Dominic kind of being a little pissed off about it. You can have that WrestleMania moment, and I can have that moment where he electric chairs his father. And I don't know, I just need him to fight his dad.
Yeah, it sounds honestly like a great SummerSlam moment.
SummerSlam.
Yeah,
I think that.
Yeah, so I think from the fantasy booking aspect, I don't disagree with you. As far as what we're gonna get at face value, I do agree that it's definitely an awesome WrestleMania moment to have the 2 of them in the center of the ring fucking Macho Man Elizabeth style, right? Dominic's got Ray up like this, just fucking, Daddy, we did it. Like, how cool is that? And I'm big into the emotion of wrestling, because anytime somebody wants to tell me that wrestling's fake, I point them to a women's title win. Just a couple weeks ago was the anniversary of Carmella cashing in Money in the Bank on Charlotte. The Iconics beat down Charlotte to a pulp. Carmella got in like a move and a half on offense, pins Charlotte. The crowd goes nuts. She's bawling her fucking eyes out in 15 seconds after winning the title. Nia Jax beat Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania. She wins the title. She's bawling her eyes out. This shit means so much to the people performing that I cannot imagine. Exactly. Yeah, Lashley couldn't even contain it.
He's
40-something years old.
He did it.
He's big as fuck. Beat up real people in real life. He finally captured, quote, an imaginary title on a fake wrestling program, and it meant that much to him. This shit is not fake. The art form is real, and the accomplishments mean something. There's a guy who's in his 50s who's a mayor of a city in Tennessee. He got elected to the Hall of Fame and was told by his best friend in the business and was crying on national TV /YouTube/network because it meant that much to him. Hurricane Helms could not contain himself by telling his good friend Molly Holly she's going into the Hall of Fame. He was crying telling her. It wasn't even his accomplishment. It was hers. This shit ain't fake. This shit means a lot to the people performing. And if you want to disrespect them and their feelings for their production on their art form by calling it that way, you're an asshole. Stop watching. If Dominic and Ray win this and they show that emotion on TV, and with my kid,
emotional now.
We do, we feel this kind of thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm with you, man. I would love to see that happen. I do wish that they could have the big old confetti moment at WrestleMania. I would think that if this closes the show, they get all the confetti in the world. You know, they're probably still sweeping it up if it was taped a week ago. So I'm with it, man. I would love to see that happen. I mean, they got the Street Profits and Otis and Gable in there too. Otis has been doing phenomenal work.
Oh yeah. I hate that they broke up Heavy Machinery, but I'm 100% okay with this Alpha Academy character.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Otis was going, in my opinion at least, he was done the minute he won that Money in the Bank thing. Because obviously it was entertaining.
Yeah.
But he wasn't gonna get it. Vince
and there was only so much they could do.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because he was limited by his capabilities in the ring. Like, no, I could not see him beating Tribal Chief Roman Reigns.
No way.
I think the only other thing you could have did with him, and I didn't like the whole Miz thing, but the only other thing you could do with him was have him cash in the babyface way, where he comes in, cashes in, and really get Reigns over as a heel by him beating the shit out of the Otis that everyone loved.
Yeah.
And especially then, because he was at that point where he was starting to kind of not get on everyone's nerves, but people were kind of over it. They've already separated.
It was shit or get off the pot. It was shit or get off the pot. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you broke up Tucker and him. They didn't even have a blow-off match.
Who's Tucker?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They broke apart him and Tucker.
Oh my god, it was phenomenal.
They
should have never broke them up. Yeah.
They should have gave them tag team belts. But
well, that was my whole thing from the beginning. Is like, if you found, because they were, look, when Money in the Bank happened, it was pandemic, it was cinematic.
It was cool.
There was nothing, right? There was nothing you can do. So, you know, and I got yelled at by the Twitter community, especially Just in Time 211. He says that the Money in the Bank would have been devalued if Otis cashed in on the tag titles. And the only reason why I said do that is because you're in such a spot. You're lose-lose anyway, right? Until Roman came back, the Fiend had the title. Braun won the title at Mania. The Fiend got the title from him. Roman came back, took the title. In the context of SmackDown, there was nothing believable you could have done with Otis. So then just get creative. It was a creative finish to Money in the Bank. So get creative going forward. And show that, because they were trying to tell the story on how Mandy's more important than Tucker, but they never really went into it. And then Tucker kind of got pushed to the side. Mandy's doing his thing, and then they get drafted and XYZ. It all goes to shit. you have an opportunity to do something creative because you're in a pandemic, and they figured some things out. They didn't figure out others, and I thought this was another thing they kind of fucked up. At the end of the day, none of it matters, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, what do you think about the Money in the Bank now, right? Miz cashed it in, transition for Bobby. They did a good job at the end there, but even Miz's Money in the Bank run, they did a couple creative things where Morrison cashed in for him, but, he gets it back because Morrison did the cash in, not the Miz. They did some cool shit like that, but it took forever to get there, and the story was so wonky. If you're going to do that, and at the end of the day, you can't find a different way to write in Bobby Lashley as champion, then do something unique with Money in the Bank just so it happened.
Right.
Oh, one time ever was cashed in for the tag titles, and Otis. And can you imagine Otis and Tucker as the SmackDown Tag Team Champions? And those type of promos and those type of matches? It makes sense. And then they lose to a Street Profits who are up and coming and all that. Like, it would have made sense. If you hold the Money in the Bank that's sacred, at the end of the day, the 2020 Money in the Bank win, the 2020 Money in the Bank cash in, really wasn't that memorable.
Right.
So it would have been actually more memorable had they cashed in on the tag titles.
I actually never fucking thought about it that way. But yeah, because I was with the whole.
Well, listen to the podcast, motherfucker. I said it for months.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was with it. I'm so with it for the fucking. Dude, I was so with it for fucking Otis and them cashing in. Because there's another big problem, too, with the Otis thing. At one point, they had a title shot.
Yeah.
That they just never went into. And it was right before Money in the Bank. They had a fucking title shot for the tag championships.
Yeah.
And it just they never did it. They never fucking did it. I want to say probably the Profits or New Day had the belts. And then that was it though. Like you never seen it. They never went and did it because they don't want to do face versus face. They want heel champion versus face.
I hear you, man. It's so, again, in the context of what wrestling is, you're actually allowed to do whatever the fuck you want.
Right.
You don't have to be fucking to the T on everything. You can just literally fucking have the match for the sake of having the match. But it's got to make sense.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm with that.
So Justin Time in the chat says Otis and Tucker breaking up was one of the biggest mistakes they made. Yeah, absolutely. But again, what are you doing on either side anyway? And you know what? To Justin's point, he's had this problem with the tag team division. Anyway, he wants the tag teams to break up because of shit like this. You don't have, or to merge. I'm sorry, because you don't have that many tag teams anymore anyway. But you know what? Let's get off of Otis, man. We've been talking too much about Otis. Let's get into fucking WrestleMania proper. Whatever the Andre the Giant Battle Royal is gonna be, the way it seems on Twitter, it's gonna be a retribution ass whooping on Ali.
I'm okay with that.
As long as at the end of the day, Mason T-Bar are a tag team, either as Dio Madden and Dijakovic because they turn completely, or they stay in character and become a tag team, and you have fucking Predator and Jason as a tag team, I'm cool with that too.
Yeah, I'd like to see Shane Thorne ditch the whole retribution thing and just go back to being Shane Thorne. Honestly, fine. He's a great tag team wrestler too. Grab someone who could use a partner, throw him in it. Give him another good tag specialist who's not doing anything, throw him in it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, WrestleMania. Speaking of WrestleMania, how are you feeling about the Raw tag titles?
So I had conflicting issues on it because if this is a highlight match for Omos, then you can do that without the titles. And I hate the fact that they broke up the Hurt Business because it finally paid off, right? The Hurt Business, they had the U.S. title and the tag titles, and now Bobby gets the main title, and the Hurt Business loses the tag titles, but your value's already there. It was the most watched thing on Raw, besides Drew, or even including Drew, for the entire pandemic, and it goes away. Now, I don't know what the significance of the Raw tag team match is, unless it's to show Omos as dope, but they did that on Raw. What they did with the press slam on Kofi, I mentioned this on the podcast. Kofi lifts up Ofi lifts up Kofi, right? He puts him in the press slam a la the Ultimate Warrior. You can see Kofi trying to touch Omos's shoulder, and he can't to help offset the weight. That's how long the guy's arms are, and that's how strong he is. He already looks phenomenal. Why do you need the titles in the story? I don't know. Do I?
Right.
So, like, at the end of the day, is the match going to be awesome? Yes.
Probably.
Because you have AJ, and the AJ Kofi match from 2 weeks ago was fucking great.
AJ Kofi, whenever they were in the ring together, is fucking awesome.
Yeah. So, I'm not invested in the titles, and I want to see what Omos looks like. I think that's about all I have on it.
I think they're going to lose them. New Day's going to lose them because I don't know what it is with their obsession with buffing the New Day's numbers.
Yeah.
With them. And I love the New Day. I was a huge New Day fan back from when they were heels first coming in with Xavier Woods forming like the core group.
Yeah.
But I mean, they don't need to keep the titles. The New Day is one of the few tag teams that don't need the titles to have a story going. Like, I mean, they were in a blood feud with the Usos.
Mm-hmm.
And a good chunk of that, a lot of people don't remember, but a good chunk of that, titles weren't involved.
Yeah.
The titles were involved only a few times during their wars. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, 2019 Hell in a Cell, their match against each other, that wasn't even for the belts. That was just, well, we're better than you. No, you ain't.
Yep.
Throw hands.
Yep.
But what was the other one I was going to ask you? Oh, how are you feeling about the U.S. title? Because I want Sheamus to win.
Well, yeah, I hate everything Matt Riddle does. I think he's a caricature of what a pothead is. I know plenty of potheads, and I also know stoners, and I hate stoners. I have zero problem with potheads. Like, when you're... And he even proved it, right? He forgot his lines on Raw, and whether I'm getting worked or not, shout out to Marsh for getting worked.
No, you're not getting worked. He forgot that.
Yeah, and that's what it felt like. It felt like he legit forgot his lines. Asuka even acted like, what the fuck is going on? When you try so hard to get this character on TV that it's so unnatural, it's so unnatural that he forgets his lines, I also don't need it. You're letting me know, for one, I don't need it. So I want Sheamus rewarded for the work that he's done with Lashley and Drew. Yeah. And honestly, although I'm not a fan of everything backstage of Riddle, when him and Sheamus get in the ring, it's a fucking ass whooping across the board. So whatever they're going to do at Mania is going to look fucking phenomenal. Hopefully we get about 8 to 12 minutes of it, and it just looks crazy. And at the end of the day, Sheamus is raising his hand.
Yeah, so few quick things with that. This is the same guy who botched that promo, who back when the Broserweights in NXT were forming, somewhere around this time last year, before TakeOver Portland, they literally said he was given a scripted promo, and how the story went was he was given a scripted promo by Triple H, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do this, but after this, we're going to do mine. It's unscripted. I'm just going to wing it." And he did that promo, and it was like, "That's it. All right, don't script him. He can just say whatever he wants." And it worked out great. But then the minute they put him in the main roster, he's been, and I have my own issues with Matt Riddle outside of that with the whole speaking out movement and all. But not getting political with it, strictly wrestling based. His character is such a character, like you said, such a caricature now that it's hard to watch him. It's because you know what, dude? Like you said, I know stoners, I know potheads. They don't act like that. Yeah. Like they do not act like that. Like it's over complicating, overcorrecting. Right. Is what it is. Right. And how the fuck did you botch that line? You could have just made up anything. Nothing you say makes sense anyway. Right. I feel like Riddle also, which I hope the case, I think Riddle realized he fucked up. And he, after the whole beatdown with Sheamus, when Sheamus came and attacked him, I feel like they had a quick off-camera conversation. Like, yeah, I fucked that up. I need to kind of correct it. I'm going to come at you a little hard after the match to try to give something to sell off of me fucking that up.
Right.
I would love to believe that Matt Riddle had the wherewithal to set that in motion, because the minute he attacked Sheamus after the match and he was all pumped and ready in the ring, I was like, there's Bruiserweight.
There's a different side.
Riddle.
Yep, it was a different side of him. Yep.
Right, and I'm like, you know what? If he would have went into business for himself there, and Sheamus is a great, respectable athlete.
Yeah.
I see Sheamus like, you know what? Great idea. Let's do it. So just after the match is done, come at me, get fierce with it, and it's going to offset you fucking up that promo.
Yeah. Did you see Sheamus recreate it with Asuka on Twitter?
No.
Yeah, Sheamus.
What?
Sheamus rolled up on Asuka on a scooter and tried to say some shit. He's like, scooters are big in Ireland, and then I forgot my line, and then rolled off. It was great.
I gotta watch that now. I gotta see that.
Yeah, it was awesome. No, I hear you, man.
I want Sheamus to win it. I do. I think Riddle's due for a reset. Take him off TV for a bit. Cause the whole stoner character thing, he needs to leave that, come back as the MMA, he needs to do? He needs to come. He should have did this from the beginning when he came in and he was feuding with Corbin. Should have Cassius Ohno'd that motherfucker. Ono came out, talked all this shit to Riddle about how, everyone's so hyped about you. You're nothing special here. Takeover, I forget which takeover it was. Match started. Riddle kneed him, pinned him. That was it.
Right.
It was a 4-second beatdown. And I'd actually like to see, if we're not going to get 8 to 12 minutes at Mania, I'd like to see Sheamus WrestleMania 30 or 31 him.
20. It was like 26 or 27, something where he booted Daniel Bryan and pinned him.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah, it's like 27 or 28, something like that. Yeah.
Have Riddle come out, be all joking and all with him.
Yeah.
The minute the bell rings, Sheamus takes his head off in the same way that he did to Ono. And then Ono.
What if it's a scooter on a pole match? Because
if it's a scooter on a pole match, then I 100% need to watch that.
Okay.
I need everything about that. And now, thank you, because now if it's not that, I'm going to be so fucking upset about it.
Yep, fantasy booking. Let's go. Scooter on a pole match. Because, look, Sheamus did hit him with a scooter. Riddle's been fucking up on a scooter. And Sheamus took the scooter and did the same promo with Asuka. I think it's a scooter on a pole match.
I want to know at what point are we going to have Matt Riddle's finisher change from the Bro Derek to the scooter to the shin? Scooter to the shin, someone, please. Because you know what? At that point, I'll buy anything. That'd be the greatest sell job possible. Do it to AJ Styles, because AJ Styles is just fucking mint. And everything he does lately has just been, it's been great. Ever since Survivor Series,
absolutely.
AJ Styles has been on a whole nother level. And
it's the first time. Sorry for cutting you off. Yeah, it's the first time. It's the first time I've invested in the heel character of who AJ is, because it's always been, I'm a badass. You're not a badass. You're a technical savage who's probably I call him the greatest of all time. He's the best to put everything all together, and it's only from a technology aspect or a time past aspect. Shawn Michaels didn't have the plethora of library to learn all the shit from to be as good as AJ Styles. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think at the end of the day, the best at putting all wrestling together of all of it, that no one does it better than AJ Styles does. And he can sell anything. When he gets fucking clothesline, he's like fucking 42. He gets clothesline and he turns inside out like Cedric Alexander does. It's fucking phenomenal.
Hey, look,
so I can definitely see that. Yeah.
He tore his rotator cuff trying to put Edge over. And he even says it in the interview. He's like, I was just so down with taking a spear from Edge. I was trying to make it look real good. And then and such a professional. The minute it happened, he crawled over to Corbin. Literally told Corbin, look, I'm hurt. I need you to get me out of here. Relay this through. And he helped save that shit. Because there's a lot of times in Royal Rumbles where someone gets injured or something happens in a pay-per-view, especially a time eliminating pay-per-view, where it goes off the rail the minute someone's injured.
Yep.
I mean, look at the Mark Henry's cage breaking open back in the Elimination Chamber back in 2012 or something like that. They didn't know what to do because now Mark Henry has to come into the Elimination Chamber. He can't just stand there.
Right.
And it threw off the whole match. But AJ Styles saved that shit. And kudos to Corbin too, because Corbin's kind of he's slowly becoming that ring general thing. And his characters now are going to pale in comparison to him. And I say 5-6 years, he's going to be a world champion, but he's going to be a world champion that you want.
I completely agree. Look, I've been a Corbin fan since NXT because I saw in him. We talked a little bit about this before we went live.
Mhm.
I saw in him a different style of athlete, and I've said this on the podcast too. When you're an offensive lineman and a Golden Gloves boxer, you are the one person that knows exactly where to put your hands at all times when it comes to wrestling. When the technique it takes to be an offensive lineman, it's all about footwork and positioning. To be a boxer, Golden Gloves boxer, it's about footwork and positioning. Now, there's technical sides of wrestling that he doesn't execute the way the majority of fan base would like to see. But right. But he's not a traditional wrestler. So when you take the backstory that they tell you on TV, put it in your ear, this is what we're telling you that Baron Corbin comes from, and then you put it in context of what he does, he's actually really fucking good at everything he does. I've been asking for it for months. I've probably years actually. I've tweeted him. I've hit him on Instagram. I'm like, yo, why don't you use a boot? Why don't you put your 6'6" leg in the air and kick somebody in the fucking face? You're too tall for this. And then I keep reminding myself, no, he's a footwork and hands guy because of Golden Gloves boxing and offensive lineman. So his move set and what he does is based off of his natural athletic ability. When you look at it that way and you take what you're given, he executes pretty fucking well. And his end of days and deep six are two of the dopest fucking moves in wrestling.
That's what I was about to say. Because he's got two of the best finishers ever. And I've seen a statistic somewhere online. Now I might be wrong on which one it is. One of those two finishers has only ever been kicked out of once.
I believe it's the end of days. Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, I think it was like one time, and I don't even think that time it was supposed to happen. Like it was not a botch, but like they didn't click to him. Yeah, it was a timing issue. Also, he hit Becky Lynch with the end of days, so that was kind of
and it was phenomenal.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
That is the RKO for the new generation. Like,
sure,
RKO out of nowhere, not a problem. Deep six out of nowhere, end of days out of nowhere. Like I never see it coming.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things I like about him too is that he doesn't have a setup beforehand. Like I like the bro kick. But at the same time, you're screaming bro.
Right.
And same thing with Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Like with the coiling up and all.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it's not out of nowhere. I hear it coming.
Right.
Oh, also, I have to throw it out there. It's going to be the bro versus the bro kick. And if they don't use that somehow in it, that's a missed opportunity for all of them.
For sure.
They need to use that somehow. But yeah, it's going to, I think Sheamus, we got a little off track, but I think Sheamus is going to end up taking that. I think Sheamus will take it. Riddle gets off TV for a bit and then hopefully comes back a little bit more serious. And you could still be, whimsical and shit, but also
I tell you, when you look at kind of how things are being written without like getting too nerdy or deep into it, fucking champagne got me bourbon like crazy. Real quick, shout out to Just in Time 211. He agrees. Look how protected the end of days is. Absolutely, it's so well done. We just talked about that. We might be on a little bit of a delay on Twitch because that came up after we said it. But anyway, when you look at what's on TV and how things have kind of slowed down heading into WrestleMania, even though the card isn't fully polished, what I really feel and again on the NXT episode with Just in Time 211, thank you so much for coming on. We were gonna fantasy book out past TakeOver, and I don't think you can. I don't think you can look at the WrestleMania card and fantasy book out. It doesn't, and here's the weird fucking thing too. It doesn't feel like a hard reset. It feels like a culmination with some type of explosion happening on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, the week after Mania, where it's all going to be laid out for us. Like, oh shit, this is where we're going. Oh shit, that's where we're going. Right. If they botch the Raw, NXT, and SmackDown coming out of Mania, it's going to be hard to recover. But the way things are coming into Mania, everything kind of feels like if it's not a culmination, a la...
It's hitting its natural endpoint.
Right. It's like, for instance, I think Sasha and Bianca, this is just the beginning. I think between Lashley and Drew, we might be at the end here, and they're both going to end in their separate directions to where we now have 2 top stars on Raw. Something that we've been teetering on since TLC.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know if we can fantasy book out because we're going to have some type of either culmination or start point coming out of Mania, and that's exciting. Because there's nothing, and most of the time when it looks like we're coming to a head, that there's an obvious winner, or at the end of the day, it kind of feels like, oh, well, that was a waste of a pay-per-view. I don't think we're getting any of that. I don't think there's really any obvious winners. Like, for instance, the New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos. It makes sense to, like you were saying, like, oh, well, this is where the New Day loses it because blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, you could also see the New Day winning, and then on Monday on Raw, it's AJ versus Omos because AJ fucked over Omos. Right. You know what I mean? And half the reason for having that match is just so Omos could beat up AJ Styles afterwards. Because you saw how much he talked during AJ's like going crazy during the Pictionary segment on Raw, and Omos was like, yo, enough with the fucking games. So if AJ costs Omos his chance at a tag title in his first match, well, the New Day is there to interject that part into the storyline. So that's why I don't fantasy book, because I come up with these ideas and I was like, oh, well, no, never mind. AJ and Omos just won the tag titles. It is what it is. But then what do you do with the New Day after that? Is this now AJ and Omos versus Benjamin and Alexander? Like, you have all that, and we don't know. The culmination of what New Day and Omos and AJ Styles is this is just the match they're going to have. Whoever wins, I think, moves on to someone else anyway.
Well, you know, I have a good way to fantasy book and tie that in, because
if
Omos and Styles end up winning it, okay, and now let's just say Riddle embraces this new, not heel character, but more serious character.
Mm-hmm.
We stop talking about his fucking feet for once. I wouldn't mind if, well, one, I want Lashley to win. I'm sure we'll get into the Lashley match, but I want Lashley to win. And I would love to just see the Monday after Mania, Drew and Sheamus connecting again, because you know it's natural for them to fight.
It is.
They say that from the very beginning, like when they first started teaming up again, and he accidentally hit Sheamus accidentally hit him, and he's being interviewed. He's like, "No, I know he's coming here. He's on his way right now because I got a hell of a receipt on his way."
Yep.
And they start beating the shit out of each other, and then beating up other people, and then going out to drink. Like, so this whole blood feud with each other, it's just what they do.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind.
That's a good point.
And then also, Drew came out the other day to help him last week to help him.
Yeah. And they showed the sympathy on his face and all that shit too. Yep.
Yeah, and they asked him backstage. They asked Sheamus. Sheamus was like, "No, it's because Drew's a respectable person and respects something that we need more around here."
Yeah.
I'd like to see the fucking Celtic connection and put them both in as leave fucking Sheamus as a heel and Drew as a babyface.
Yeah.
Keep it like that and have them as a tag match. I want Raw after Mania for them to see each other in the back, take shots at each other for not being able to take the belt, to get a singles belt. Like, well, then let's do it together, and then just walk off screen. Just walk away, and then setting up for them to not immediately go take the belts, start getting some wins in, and get almost established back, get it almost established into a weekly wrestling presence, not just AJ's bodyguard.
Yeah,
it gives almost the reps, lets him get some in-ring learning with AJ and other people.
Sure.
And meanwhile, in the background, here's the Celtic connection gaining some momentum.
Yeah, the Shamrock and the Sword.
The Shamrock and the Sword. My fucking God, put it on the shirt.
A nice sword right through a shamrock. Gotta love it.
I love it. Do that, and then bam. Maybe next pay-per-view, by the time next pay-per-view.
Yeah,
or
Backlash or Money in the Bank,
right there. Throw them into the match together, and then when they lose the belt, have Omos turn on Styles.
Yeah. No, that's great.
There you go. And now if that doesn't happen, I'll be fucking upset.
Yeah, we just talked about a bunch on night one. Let's get into night one of WrestleMania. We have Sasha Banks Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. We got Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Proper Championship. Bad Bunny versus The Miz. New Day versus AJ Styles and Almost. Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon in a steel cage match. And Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. We have 6 matches listed for night 1 of WrestleMania, which is technically night 2 because we have a WrestleMania-worthy SmackDown the night before.
The WrestleMania pregame.
Hell yeah. Look, I tell you, what they've been doing with Seth Rollins and Cesaro is just it's really good. I had an issue with the promo segment, and I'm a huge fan of Corey Graves. When everyone was shitting on Corey Graves when he first started doing commentary on Raw, I was like, you guys don't understand. They're building towards this Heenan-esque ability to... Because the thing about Heenan that everybody loved is that he called it how he saw it, right? When Hogan came out as the bad guy in NWO, Heenan goes, but what side is he on, right? And I heard Hogan on After the Bell, speaking of Corey Graves, talk about he gave Heenan shit for that, okay? But Heenan has always done that. If you look at any match, WWF, WCW, where Bobby Heenan is calling a Hogan match, he always pointed out the fact that Hogan's the heel. Hogan would bite people's foreheads, rake people's backs, poke people in the eye, all to get his top advantage. Corey Graves is doing that too. He's done that with Sasha Banks her entire career that he's been calling. He's like, oh, Sasha's not a nice guy. Stop saying that she's nice. She always turns on her friends. You know, Kevin Owens never has a friendship that he doesn't turn on, and I respect the fact that
Big E keeps throwing his jacket at me.
Yes, yes. Roman Reigns is turning heel, and he goes, Roman Reigns is one of my best friends in and out of this business. Whatever he needs to do to get the title, I got to support him. Like, yes.
That's a lot of these Twitter mutants, they don't understand they don't understand
the
need
real
for
quick.
A color commentator.
Twitter mutants in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle font, some way, shape, or form, make that shit a t-shirt.
I'll have it up by Sunday.
Please do. Please do.
But yeah, he's a fucking...
It's a story. He's telling the story.
Exactly. He's telling the story, and he's a color commentator. He is commentating, because guess what? We're talking about him.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about him. Then that's what matters. People don't.
He's the heel commentator. He's the heel commentator, and we're talking shit on him.
Unpopular opinion: Corey Graves is a really good commentator. Don't tell anyone though. Yeah, he's great. One of my favorite things. My whole family does this. We sit and we wait for the inevitable moment where he does this. You know, he's always there with his pencil in his hand, like talking, and then eventually, and he throws his pencil. I'm like, dude, just throw the pencil already. Just throw it.
Shouts to Justin Time 211. He said he would get the shirt. Justin Time 211 said that he would buy that shirt. Twitter Mutants as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle font.
I got it. I got this. Terrible Twitter Mutants.
Yes. Love it. Love it. Yeah, look, man. Or terrible Twitter Mutant. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out for sure.
It.
Yeah. So let's get into the card before we pine over how great Graves is. But when he actually left the segment on SmackDown and it was just Cesaro and Cesaro and Seth Rollins going back and forth, I was like, oh, I'm into this. Now Cesaro, fuck man, too much champagne. I'm almost done the bottle. Shouts to Brunswick Bishop. I can't wait for this to be an every Saturday thing, with or without the champagne. This is fucking awesome. Fuck it, RedFox. Thank you for being here, man. We've talked so much about doing this. This is so much fucking fun. We're like close to 3 hours in. Who the fuck cares? 2 hours and 14 minutes in, and it feels like we just got started. Fuck. Man,
everything that we start talking about, we're like, yeah, that's great. And now let's go into all the details about it.
But no, the Cesaro thing. When Cesaro kept putting in the swing puns, it's like at the end of the day, dude, like, yeah, you're not the heel, so stop talking shit. But the confidence that he has that he's going to win. But you see how Seth Rollins decided not to fall for it. He's reserving it for WrestleMania. I think Seth Rollins whoops the shit out of Cesaro. It will be a spectacle. It will be one hell of a match. But at the end of the day, I think Seth Rollins gets it done.
I think, honestly, you know what? I think because WWE had... Michael Cole especially has a big problem with so much exposition. And you know what? I hate Michael Cole so much, but I also understand he's got Vince in his ear all the time to say this, say that. And Cole is like the Miz. You may not like him, but he does what he's asked to do when he's asked to do it and to the best of his ability. I'm sure Michael Cole could do a lot better job commentating without someone in his ear, but that's not the situation. We don't live in a fantasy world where that's how it is.
And honestly, even if Vince isn't in his ear anymore, he's so used to commentating a certain way, it's natural for him to be that way. Yeah, so I give it a hard pass too. I mean, it just is what it is.
It's one of the things you just got to accept it. But I think because they're doing so much expose on how, this is Cesaro's like first ever WrestleMania singles match, like, and then you think about it too in a realistic perception of it. This is the first WrestleMania with people back in the crowds.
Yeah,
you kind of want to send the people home happy. A lot of people have the Cesaro section. Like, a lot of people are really going for him. And Rollins is such a fucking gem and such a selfless wrestler.
Good point.
He's going to make Cesaro. He's going to beat the shit out of Cesaro. But he's going to make Cesaro earn that win and make it look good. I think Cesaro is going to take the win on this just to have that moment of his first ever. Because honestly, this is one of the only times you'll be able to do this. Because next year, if Cesaro gets a push, and then next year he wins, but okay, he won his second ever.
Right.
Match.
No, that's a great point. So let me ask you this: over the last month or so, we saw Cesaro get a bunch of tap outs on the sharpshooter. Does he tap out this Seth Rollins with the sharpshooter to win the match?
If he does, I want to see him turn the swing into the sharpshooter. Ooh. I want to see him turn that swing and find a way to transition it. And, talking over with Rollins, I'm sure you guys come up with something great.
Oh, yeah.
Turn that swing into, instead of letting him go, let go of the one leg, hook him, turn him, put him right in the sharpshooter. And put him in the good sharpshooter, like the right back, and they make it look fluid, and it's good.
How many swings do we get? They keep saying 22 on commentary. Do we surpass 22? Is that why they keep bringing it out?
WrestleMania 37?
37. We're getting 37? Are we getting 37? Are we getting 37? Oh, 37 swings, dude?
Fucking swings.
Wow.
On them. And I'm here for everyone. I'm going to be counting the bitches.
Oh, my God. You're right. Dude, 37 fucking swings would be insane. So much.
And you know what? And Rollins will give him every bit of it. Rollins
I don't disagree. He is there to play ball for sure. Yep.
And he's going to make himself look good and make Cesaro look good. I mean, look at that. It's a very slept-on match, but look at that match between Rollins and McIntyre. I forget what pay-per-view it was even on. But they literally end the match in a fucking handshake. And this is Rollins in full heel mode.
Right.
That match, awesome.
Right.
Fucking great. And yes, we just by 13.
No way he's going to 50. No way he's going to 50. No way. If that shit goes to 50, we're going to be blowing our minds. This shit would be fucking crazy.
It's going to 37.
Know what? Fuck it. What are you doing? What are you doing night one of WrestleMania?
Good question. Because I don't know where I'll be watching it at.
Will you be watching it with a computer in front of you to do a watch-along with me, night one of WrestleMania?
Give me 24 hours to find out where I'm doing it. If I can't do it night one, I'll try to do it night two.
Okay, I have night two locked in already.
Okay, then I'll try to see about night one.
See if you can get night one open, and me and you will do this while WrestleMania's happen, because if we get Cesaro versus Seth Rollins on night one, which we are, I want to count these fucking swings with you, dude.
All right, I'm with it. Let me talk to the lady in the family, because WrestleMania is a big thing with our family.
Okay. No worries. I don't want to separate
it. And I'll still be in the chat, because what I do when you're doing them, I keep one of my AirPods in.
Okay.
As I'm watching it, I have the screen up on my lap on my phone.
Nice.
That's how I was doing when we watched the Firefly Inferno match.
Yeah. Okay. Shit, Justin Time 211 said there's video of him on the Indies hitting 100 swings. Epic.
Well, I know what I'm doing later.
Epic.
Counting to 100.
Hell yeah.
Then I'm going to watch in reverse and count back down to 1. But let's get more
Also,
into this card.
yeah, night one.
Oh.
Night one. Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon in a steel cage match. I tell you what, this is a story that was easy to build. They made it terrible. I think they landed the plane okay after a shit ton of turbulence. And at the end of the day, we're getting Strowman versus McMahon in a steel cage match that 5 years from now, the build doesn't matter. I think this is just about the match.
Perfect example of that. Not to get too off of that match. The Becky, Charlotte, Ronda match.
Yeah.
Started great, started awesome. And then a lot of people in years aren't going to remember a lot of those really bad promos and bad segments and the cop car stuff and the Becky Lynch having to apologize to Stephanie like all that stuff that got terrible. You're not going to worry about that. It's going to be about the execution. I think you're right. It's how this match is going to be. I personally don't see why we need it on WrestleMania. That should be on the WrestleMania pregame on SmackDown, maybe. But I don't see why, or no, it wouldn't be on SmackDown, I guess. Would it be?
No, they're Raw. They're
Raw. Okay, it could have been on the Raw for that as a main event. But I don't know. I wouldn't put that on the card before we put a championship on the card. Like, why is this? I don't personally think that this SmackDown that they're going to get a winner on the end of that. By the way, I think we're.
You think that the SmackDown tag titles will get pulled into
Mania?
Yeah,
I think
that makes more
something's
sense.
going to happen. They're going to pull it in because you look at a lot of this card. They're still putting matches on. They just started really putting matches on like a week or so ago. Yeah. Back in the day, you knew what was going on in WrestleMania 6 months beforehand. And then you had 6 months of story building to it.
Well, the Nigerian drum fight for night 2 just got announced last night. You know, when I reached out to you a couple months ago, I think it was like right around Rumble time. Like, yo, let's lock in a WrestleMania preview the weekend before. I agree with you. I thought maybe everything would be locked up. I still have concerns about the women's tag title because they've been teasing this Natty and Tamina getting their hands on the title for what feels like a couple months now. Ever since they showed up together, they've been teasing the fact that they're going to go after him, but there's nothing that's been said about it, not even for the Spectacular next week. So when are those women's tag titles going to be defended? And if it's going to be at Mania, when are they going to announce that match? And the fact that both nights of Mania, again, a WrestleMania too big for 2 nights because they're doing shit on SmackDown, they only have 5 matches each night. And 6 matches each night, and there's 5 matches each night for TakeOver. So you're not really giving us necessarily 2 nights worth of matches because there's been WrestleManias with 11 matches, with 10 matches. You're only giving us 2 extra matches or 1 extra match. It's not so. I can hear you. I hear where you're going, and I would actually like to see 7 matches both nights. And also, where's the women's battle royal, the Vagina Cup battle royal? You know what I mean?
Where is it?
So we'll see how it goes. Let's not dive too far. What do you think about the Strowman Shane match itself? Not the build. I think the winner is inevitable, but what do you think this looks like?
I think Shane's going to win. Because you think about it, I mean, that whole feud with The Miz, Shane won that.
Right.
Shane won that feud. I'm pretty sure he lost the feud to Kevin Owens, and he was supposed to be fired and never come back, but he's back. I don't know how
Mrs. TW says Vagina Cup ? And then ew, but you know.
Yeah, no. It's the Vagina Cup. It's the
That's what the
cup.
trophy looks like.
But yeah, oh my God, it looks like fallopian tubes. But yeah, I think Shane's gonna win it. Which I'm okay with, but I do also see Shane. I didn't want them to be in a cage match. I wanted to be a street fight because Shane's gonna jump off the top of the cage through the table. Right. We know what's happening. I want Kevin Owens to do like he said he would do and jump off of that pirate ship.
Right. Well, that's night 2. We could talk about that in a second.
Well, I was relating to the Shane thing because I want it to be a street fight, but I'm also glad it's a steel cage because I know if it was anything outside of that steel cage,
Right.
Shane was going to take that from Owens and
Right.
he was going to jump
Right.
off the fucking ship. But
Well,
I think Shane's going to take it.
and they built to the steel cage match nice by having Elias and Riker kind of be minions for Shane. So having the cage match, because at first I was like, well, Hell in a Cell keeps everybody out, and then, well, he already did that with Taker. So steel cage match actually seems perfect. And for some reason in my head, I'm thinking more of the Ambrose Asylum, where the cage was like a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
a traditional cage match with Braun Strowman in it, I mean, his hand touches the new fucking guardrail that they put up there anyway. So I'm wondering if they're gonna do like something a little bit bigger of a cage match to kind of add to what's going on. I actually think Strowman wins this in a
I hope.
way. Well, you know what? I actually have a thought. What if he throws Shane over top of the cage to the ground?
I would love to see that. Now, if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be upset.
Which is why I don't fantasy book. But the way I was thinking about it is like, he's so, because you think of Paul White showing up at St. Valentine's Day Massacre. He throws Stone Cold into the cage busts open, he falls down, Stone Cold wins. And it's a win for the babyface by a heel on accident, where this would be a win by the heel, but the babyface did it on purpose. If Strowman just takes him and chucks him over the top rope, or over the top of the cage, that'd be fucking phenomenal. Into a table and all that shit. You know what I mean? Who cares what's over there? I mean, what if he, or Shane climbs the cage to get out, and then Strowman's, straddling the cage and is like, fuck it, throws him into the announce table. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. You know
Shouts
what?
to Just in Time. He says, bring out the old blue cage. Fucking A.
Oh my God, bring back the blue cage. That's a real steel fucking cage.
Hell yeah.
But all right, what else we got on night one's card?
Bad Bunny versus The Miz. I'm surprised this isn't a Priest and Bunny versus Miz and Morrison. I'm curious how it's going to look. I've said this since McAfee. Okay, any celebrity that walks in the door, shows the business reverence as far as what I see on TV, and is down to do the work, they get a pass unless it looks fucking stupid.
Where do you put this?
Bad Bunny only looks stupid if you allow it to look stupid. Okay?
Yes.
So in context, when he hit Morrison with the mic, he had a microphone in his hand and he went to hit Morrison, it looked like shit. Every step of the way since then, Bad Bunny has looked better and better and better. So if you take the ride, you let it build, it looks good. In the overall, it's not that great. Like, I'll admit it, it's not that great. But every step of the way, it's gotten a little bit better. I have huge concerns on how the match is going to look if they don't add Priest with Bunny and Morrison with Miz.
Right. I could see, you know what? I'd give it 6 minutes. Yeah. I'd give it 6 minutes plus entrances. And honestly, I think it'd just be a fun match. I think the build's been entertaining. And that's the best way to put it.
Yes.
It's been entertaining. And it's been fun entertaining. It hasn't gotten to the point where this is too much.
Yes.
And I actually even think that I think that this little feud did good to have that little bit of a 2-3 week break in between it when Miz took the belt.
Yes.
Because I was actually getting a little bit worried at the beginning of that feud that Bad Bunny was going to take that briefcase.
I didn't think of that.
I was a little bit worried that they would do that. And not that Bad Bunny would cash it in, but Bad Bunny would give it to Archer.
Priest.
Or Priest.
Yeah. So that's kind of a problem I have, because in the same context, what you're basically saying is that Damian Priest has looked so important to Bad Bunny that the end result seems like the importance of Damian Priest. Where even when Bad Bunny had the 24/7 championship, Priest was the bodyguard, the stronghold, and all that shit. And when I guess it's nitpicking because at face value, Bunny and Miz have not been tampered with when it comes to Priest and Morrison. Like, Morrison hasn't touched Bunny, and Priest hasn't touched Miz. It's always been the shit talk and the contact between the two of them. So the story itself is actually coming off well.
Yeah.
I mean, entertainment, yes. My problem is, even though Miz is the biggest guy, Bad Bunny seems like such a small dude that I'm like, what could he possibly do in the end to make me think that this is anything but some type of fuckery? Now, there's one person in the company, maybe two, because I think Seth Rollins could too. But the Miz is fantastic at getting fucked over. He is fantastic at looking the fool. So there's a very, very good chance that that this is where Miz. So I said this a couple years ago. When the Miz and Dolph Ziggler did their IC title thing, Miz became a made man. Anything in WWE, his promo skills got a lot better. His in-ring work got a lot better. Maybe this is where Miz puts himself on another level. If he can make Bad Bunny investable inside the ropes, we might have a new level of the Miz.
Right. Because again, like I said, the Miz is one of those people who, here's what do you got for me? This is it. All right. I'm going to do it to the best of my fucking abilities, and I'm going to get this over. Because the Miz understands his worth. That's why, like, you know what? I kind of wish he would have had the belt again.
Yeah.
Not in that context. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, what I would have liked to have happened, if they needed something to do, like, say they just wanted to get rid of the Money in the Bank, maybe take the championship away for a little bit. Like, not away, but, like, off of, like, a huge Lashley or McIntyre. I wouldn't have mind Morrison turning on the Miz or vice versa, then feud for the Money in the Bank, and then the winner go and cash the shit in and go and take the belt.
Sure.
Like I wouldn't have mind that. I've been calling for those two to feud with each other for a while because Johnny Nitro is just.
I think it's coming.
Johnny Mundo is just the fucking man. But I think altogether though the Bad Bunny shit's working out good. I do. I think it's entertaining, and it hasn't gone on to the point yet where I'm tired of this.
Right.
It's been fun, and what I like too is that Bad Bunny came down to the wrestlers level. Miz went up to the rapper. Came at him
the entertainment level.
Yes, right, they came at each other's profession. And it just looks like, honestly, overall, it's looking like they're both just having just a fucking great time with it.
Yes, and you can't be mad at that. You can't. You can pick apart the efficacies, the bullshit, if you want. But if you take, again, yes, at face value, everything's been done so well. My only concern is just how Bad Bunny looks. He's not a big dude. I mean, if it was Flow Rider and the story was going the same way, I'm like, man, Flow Rider's fucking jacked. He could beat the shit out of the Miz if he gets his hands on him. And everything that they're showing, if it's done the same exact way, I'd be like, damn, Flow Rider might win this match. But the way that Bad Bunny looks without Damian Priest being involved, I just don't know if he can win. So I think whatever happens, Miz looks like the fool. Bad Bunny wins. You get the cool moment at WrestleMania with a Bad Bunny win.
You could even, you know what? You could even still break up Morrison and
Yep,
Miz.
there it is.
Morrison could cost him the match.
Yep.
Morrison could cost him it. And it's great too because you know what? Priest looks like such a cool dude. Like that.
Yeah.
They've really been making him seem like he's just cool. Everyone likes him. He's awesome. You could even put Priest over a little bit with Priest just reacting to it. Like he didn't need to get involved. Morrison fucked him over.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Priest does basically nothing. Who you think would have to do more, but Morrison tries too hard. The Miz gets fucked over. Yeah, that's a great fantasy book right there. Let's go into the next match. Bobby Lashley versus Drew. We kind of alluded to this earlier. Yeah, I agree. I think because here's the problem I've had with Drew from the beginning. I don't connect with Drew. There's nothing he's done on TV to make me feel like he's important. It feels like a big try hard in the presentation of him. Where I called for it, just like you're calling for it going forward, I actually thought that Sheamus coming over during the draft would lead towards McIntyre not winning the title, and we get Sheamus and Drew as tag team champions all the way through Rumble. We get a breakup, and then it's Drew versus Sheamus at WrestleMania for the title. I thought that's what we might get. And what we do have, again, is not investable by me because I don't buy into Drew's character, and everything the Hurt Business has done and is doing is within themselves, not externally in who their opponents are. So who do I buy into in this match?
Right.
So I do want Lashley and MVP to keep going. Keep that train rolling, man.
I got a great piece of fantasy booking for that, which isn't even fantasy booking. I can see it happening. So follow with me on this.
Go ahead.
Remember right before they broke up the Hurt Business, there was a stipulation match that if he won, the Hurt Business would be banned from ringside for their match. Hurt Business broke up the next
Wow.
week. And
Wow.
MVP was very
It's
clear
right
when he
there.
said the Hurt Business isn't. He's like, the Hurt Business isn't done. We're done with them.
Not only did he
And
say that,
also,
he
Baron
said,
Corbin
just
is
to
not
be
part of the Hurt
clear,
Business.
just to be clear, the Hurt Business is MVP and Lashley. He said that. Just to be clear, the Hurt Business is look at you, fucking it.
And that's how you
didn't
get
even see it
over. That's
didn't
how you
even see
get
it.
Lashley out of, and it's all to throw him off because really, Lashley has been so protected, has been getting all these wins. He has not lost in over a year, or he has not been pinned in over a year.
Right.
That's how you get it over because the Hurt Business was banned from ringside. They're
Not
part of Hurt
Alexander
Business
and Benjamin.
anymore. And then it throws you off more with getting Corbin involved, the 24/7 goobers involved.
Yep.
Like, that's never was Lashley's MO. Lashley wasn't scared of no one. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get someone to weaken McIntyre for him. It's all part of the game.
That's a great point. What a great point.
And then bam, you get the Hurt Business back together. Because I'm sorry, you cannot have taken them apart. They had the potential to be so good.
They're the highlight of 2020.
Yeah, and honestly, if you keep them going the way that they're going, honestly, I could see Lashley having a very good long title reign with them as his heaters. I would even go so far as to maybe even have Benjamin or Alexander take a mid-card title, maybe. And just kind of involve them. And I could see them being talked about the way the Shield is talked about now.
And they should
10 years. Like,
they should be.
Yeah.
That's what bothered me about them breaking up, but I didn't even see the forest through the trees. I mean, you just laid it out, and it makes so much sense. The nuance in the details is the fact that the Hurt Business doesn't exist, and the Hurt Business was banned from ringside.
And like you said, MVP clearly stated, the Hurt Business is me and Lashley.
Right. So that means that Alexander and Benjamin and Corbin or whoever he wants it to be. No, and that's the thing. Fucking Baron Corbin and MVP both said it. Corbin's not in the Hurt Business.
Yeah, he's not.
So he can absolutely be at ringside if he wants to be.
Oh my God, I got something great.
Go ahead.
I got something great. Do this after WrestleMania. Have Banks lose the belt. And if they're going to bring any girl into the Hurt Business, bring Banks in in her heel character. Because I'm sorry, she does an okay face. Okay. But she's got too much bravado to really be seen as a full face. Right. Put her heel, put her in the Hurt Business, get her over to Raw, like you said with this not being the end. This is just the beginning of the Bianca Belair Sasha feud.
Yeah.
Okay, let it run up to the draft.
Okay, gotcha.
And then give her that one more opportunity to get the job done. Not get it done. Get sent over to Raw. Send her over to Raw. Have her get picked up by the Hurt Business.
That's not a bad idea. I
fuck the Raw Championship at that point. Whoever, like her against Ripley.
Oh. If
Ripley's still having it, dude, in my veins, just inject it.
Well, before we jump over to Raw, you did allude to it. So you think that what seems like is now trending towards the main event of night one, which I thought the build didn't deserve it, but the way everything else is laid out on night one, I do think this is the right move, having Sasha and Bianca main event night one.
Especially if what I said comes true.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't end night one on a screwy finish.
I have to step away from the camera real quick. Get into your thoughts on Sasha and Bianca. I can hear everything you're saying.
You're good.
So just go on to Sasha and Bianca. I'll be right back.
All right. So I was telling Bishop about this before we started. With Sasha and Bianca, they spent so much time trying to play this will they, won't they storyline with the tag titles. And which is the same mistake that they made with, I get it, Charlotte Flair had COVID, but the same mistake they made with Asuka versus Charlotte, which is clearly what they were going for a few weeks ago. If you just stop with the fucking tag titles, with the women's tag titles, and let them just have at each other. Let them even remember. I forget who. I think it might have been Cassius Ohno and Baron Corbin, where they used to have like squash the jobber competitions on who could kill the jobber quicker to prove who was better between the two of them. Something similar to that. But stop putting the fucking tag titles in the mix with the challenger champion to play this will they, won't they fight each other? Like, will they get along or will they not get along? It doesn't matter because these belts are meaningless compared to the main championship that they're fighting over. And it's never worked out a different way. It's never worked out differently where Braun and Seth is a perfect example. They had the tag belts, but Braun wanted the Universal Championship. Well, clearly they weren't going to be able to get along.
Right.
And
I'm back.
They telegraphed that a lot with Charlotte and Asuka with the tag belts. Oh, they were tag team champions together. But really, we all knew Charlotte was coming for the belt. And then the COVID thing happened. All right, cool. But let's copy and paste that to Bianca Belair and Sasha, who don't need it. They could have never put their hands on each other until WrestleMania and just been coming at each other with promos and with showing up each other in matches. And it would have been such better build than, I mean, the Reginald shit got way out of hand. Every time you had a tag team championship match, they wrestled for those belts twice. And one of the times, Natalya and Tamina got involved. But they're scared to pull the trigger on Natalya and Tamina holding those belts for some fucking reason. But yeah,
no, I completely agree with you, and they even recycled the will they won't they on Raw with Asuka and Rhea Ripley, and we'll get into them in just a second.
Oh, yep.
They're doing that is so fucking lazy because I mean I've been saying this since the Royal Rumble win. During the Royal Rumble watch along, Bianca wins, and I go, well, shit, she's got 10 weeks to get her shit together. And what I meant by that is be in the ring. Show that you're capable of wrestling on Sasha's level, which is an incredible level that not many people can wrestle up to. That you have to prove, because that's the one thing Bianca hasn't done, is proved that bell to bell, she can go move for move with anyone. She has proved she is the most athletic. She has proved that she is one of the strongest. Her character is the EST, but her production and performance is not the EST.
No.
And that's been my issue. The last 2 weeks.
Weak.
Yes. In the last 2 weeks, she's gotten wins. But even the win she got over, I think it was Natty, where she did a move, fell out of the ring, talked some shit to Sasha, came back in, got her finisher, and that was the end. It made the opponent look like shit. Why did you... It wasn't even the finisher that they were just laying in the ring for. So... They haven't done the build of Bianca as an EST in the ring. Do I think she can have a great match with Sasha? Yes. The one thing that has to happen, Bianca needs to slow down. The problem I have is that they spent 8 weeks building this frenemy thing post-Royal Rumble and didn't give Bianca the opportunity to slow down in the ring often enough to do it automatically. She's going to have to overthink this match, and I don't think it's going to come off well, and I fucking hope it does. I love women's wrestling more than men's wrestling because of how much emotion they expend, how much they absolutely put their asses into it, and why, honestly, they have to try harder at making a match look good because of how bodies line up. The way they wrestle each other, it's not as smooth. When you watch Dustin Rhodes or Randy Orton or Samoa Joe hit that fucking scoop body slam, when they or power slam when they throw somebody in the ropes and then like Randy Orton, he'll even clap and then fucking twist them over. Or when Dustin, women, they're, and this is no offense, it's just eyeball test. The bodies don't line up the same. So when it comes to wrestling and presentation, they need to try harder to make it look great. And great women's wrestling is fucking undeniable.
Oh yeah.
These two performers can do it. I just haven't seen it from Bianca. So when this main event goes off, it better be fucking great, man. It better be great.
Yeah, and I think Bianca, well, obviously Bianca's going to walk away with it. She is. But honestly, you know what? A few weeks ago, I would have said the same thing. A few weeks ago, I would have been like, yeah, this is definitely the main event. But now it's like, it's just been so soiled to the fact that now you have a week before. It's been 2 weeks before WrestleMania, and you're just now getting to them
It was her first
going
singles
after each
match.
other.
Yeah, it
Like,
was her first singles match 3 weeks out of WrestleMania, and Sasha's calling her a rookie. Was she a rookie when you were tag teaming together? And
not
Sasha was the one losing?
dude, that whole match made no sense because Sasha was looking directly at her when she got pushed into her. When
Right.
Baszler pushed her into it, you were looking at the contact,
Right.
and then you slapped her. And like, I'm
Right.
sorry, Bianca Belair looked so weak the minute she got slapped, and then did nothing, and then got
Right.
slapped a second time, did nothing.
Yep.
And then like they tried to play it off on SmackDown. So he was like, "Oh well, I was being the better person out there because I'm gonna be the better person over at WrestleMania." Dude, stop pointing at the fucking sign. Stop pointing at the sign, and fucking punch her in the fucking face.
Yep.
Like you're saying,
Ridiculous.
you've been talking about being the EST, and this is the problem that Bianca Belair had on NXT when she never won the title. Because you always talked about being the EST. Show me you're the EST.
Exactly.
And they did that before. They showed you she was the EST, put her in that match against Ripley and Charlotte, then moved her to the main roster. She's been on the main roster over a year, and we've seen nothing of her.
In and out.
She was a valet for Street Profits for a little bit, and that was it. But
yeah,
what else you got?
So, well, just to tie a bow on that, I'm wondering if this is the opportunity that they were waiting for. So there's two things, right? Either the woman makes the title or the title makes the woman. Maybe this is the opportunity that they were waiting for to build that star in Bianca. The problem is, as traditional wrestling fans, from a presentation standpoint, we want to see the value in the person before they win the title. And if at the end of the day, we're going to get Bianca as a champion looking credible, cool. For me, I'd rather her look credible first.
Yep.
Okay.
Because right now you look like you can't take her. Right now you, after the Rumble, you look like you were on Sasha's level. Right now you look like the rookie that she's calling you.
So, all right, real quick, let's run through those 6 predictions. Sasha versus Bianca, who you got?
Bianca.
Lashley versus Drew, who you got?
Lashley.
I agree with you on those two. Bad Bunny versus The Miz.
Bunny's winning it.
Bunny, and I love the way you draw that up about having Morrison be the cause of the turn and then getting into a new story. I agree with you, Bad Bunny, on that.
What else is there for them to do at this point?
Yeah, New Day versus AJ and Omos.
I'm going to say AJ and Omos just because they're going to use it as an opportunity to get the New Day another title win in 6 months' time.
If the Miz Morrison thing doesn't happen the way you think, I think it happens between AJ and Omos. So I don't think we would get 2, but I think one or the other happens.
Yeah.
So I think I actually lean the other way. I think we still have a Bad Bunny win in some weird way, but I think the New Day keep titles, and this is almost AJ Styles breakup.
I can get with that.
Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. You still got Shane McMahon winning?
Yeah, I still got Shane winning because Braun, I feel like he's a stop-start project for them.
Okay.
Constantly.
Yeah, I would like to see Shane win, but only Braun Strowman throwing him over the top to look incredibly badass. And I think very, very, very good chance. I think in the percentages of matches to steal WrestleMania, this one is right there with the ability. But we have some hot shit for night 2. Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Who you got winning?
I got Cesaro winning because Seth's going to do everything to make everyone see the star that Cesaro really is.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Very
and over
effort.
Is the over under on swings 37.5.
No, I'm going for 37 completely and a bonus points if he pulls it into a sharpshooter right after.
Nice.
But a lot of matches going to be built around Cesaro trying to get that swing in.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Seth selling, not wanting to be put in there.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be the match in night 1. Depending on how they make the other things look, I think at the end of the day, there's going to be so much energy just expended by having a live crowd that night 1 is just going to be in a vacuum of its own, which is why they give you so much fire for night 2. Night
Right.
2, 6 matches listed. We have Riddle versus Sheamus for the U.S. title. We have Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn with Logan Paul in his corner, which may or may not be in his corner at WrestleMania based off of SmackDown. Big E and Apollo Crews in a Nigerian drum fight, which we have no clue what it is, but I can't fucking wait to see it.
It's
The Fiend versus Bray Wyatt. I'm sorry, The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton in what's only called as a singles match. Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, which is my fucking dream match for this decade. And Roman Reigns versus Edge and Daniel Bryan. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of that and the U.S. title match. You alluded to it earlier that what's happening between Riddle and Sheamus has the potential to kind of turn these two characters into the next level of what we see. What do you see coming from this match? Because I think you kind of painted yourself in a bit of a corner when you were explaining both Riddle and Sheamus and what they're going to do going forward.
So I think if we go the route that I said before about Sheamus and Drew kind of connecting with them both losing their opportunity by whatever means, you still get Sheamus. You still get Riddle. I want to win only if it leads to Sheamus joining back up with Drew McIntyre, and Riddle coming out of it a killer, coming out of it more serious and like not this fucking stoner caricature, come out as the NXT Matt Riddle, the laugh here but take your fucking head off in the ring. That's what I'm hoping for. If not, if Riddle doesn't win though, I'd love for Sheamus to win because I feel like he would make that belt look so good. If I'm being honest with you, Riddle seems like a paper champion.
Yeah.
He's had the belt, but I don't really remember anything involving him that's not some stupid scooter pun.
Yeah, I think
I would like Sheamus to win.
I do like your idea of tweaking Riddle's character because I hate the stoner character itself. It doesn't make sense to me, and it lacks believability for like the first 45 seconds to a minute and a half in a match. And of course, when he gets involved with Sheamus, they start beating the shit out of each other. After 8 minutes, you're like, fuck, that was a hell of a match. But if it takes Sheamus to send Riddle into that spiral of getting his character tweaked to be more more legit, less stonery and all that shit, I'm all here for it. I am here for it as well, the Sheamus side of things. So with him and Drew. So I do think though, I think this is the opportunity to reward Sheamus for what he's done over the last couple months, and you let him take the U.S. title,
Elevate it.
Yeah, give us some gravitas, put some backbone behind it, and really just have fantastic matches. Because he hasn't missed with Drew, he hasn't missed with Lashley, he hasn't missed with fucking Riddle. Like, everything he's done in the ring has looked phenomenal, and that's great to have on a mid-card title like the U.S. one.
He doesn't miss at all.
No, he doesn't. He's doing phenomenal work. And you see that fucking picture from his 43rd birthday? He's out there fucking double bicepped up, 6-packed, 8-packed, all that shit. I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah, no.
I'm 36 and I look like fucking Thor in Endgame.
Yeah, I think I want Sheamus. I'm gonna go Sheamus on this one. Sheamus with the win. He deserves it. And honestly, I feel like he'll bring up that he will bring up
that tier of performer.
That tier of performer. He can really help with that mid card because Sheamus can get a good match out of anybody. And honestly, wouldn't even mind seeing him versus Cesaro.
That'd be great. They're separate bands for now, but it will happen and it will be great. Even though they had that amazing fucking video, which another thing that you got to check out on Twitter, Cesaro and Sheamus fucking hugging it out and Sheamus bawling his eyes out. The shit means so much to these performers, man. Two people who are going to have an outstanding fucking match. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, one-on-one for the mark-out match of the weekend.
I need to see that fucking documentary. I've watched the trailer to that documentary more times this morning than I'm comfortable with. I just love when he literally turns around and it's like, I have this weird distrust of zebras now.
Yes.
Like, all of it's great. I don't think the Logan Paul thing's not needed. I don't want him to be a special guest referee. I don't really want him to be involved in the match, anything other than this. And I'm hoping he's not. I hope they end his involvement next Friday. End his involvement. I don't think he needs to be on WrestleMania. You have an issue then of too many celebrities a bit. And Logan Paul is a very controversial character.
Yeah.
I understand he changed his act around a lot, and he good for him. He's doing great. I personally can't fucking stand him. Don't like his brother either.
Yeah.
But it is cool to see him involved. But I think right here, that should be the end of it. His involvement should be purely the documentary because Logan Paul is big for conspiracies and it relates to the documentary. But as far as wrestling context, don't do it because I can already see there'll be too much thirst for Vince to be like, oh well, remember that time we had a pro boxer in here? Well, he's a boxer too. Let's do something after Mania with Owens and use the Mania match to set it up. Just let Zayn and fucking Owens fight it out.
I do agree, man. I think I loved how they played it off the week before, the invite on the KO show. And I said this recapping that particular one last Saturday. And the fact that everything that I heard, that these two guys being best friends for so long, going through the trenches to get to this moment, to have their match at WrestleMania would help them die happy. Like, they've given everything to wrestling in their wrestling careers, and they love each other so much as just people in life that if they were allowed to have their moment and the proverbial blank check for their whatever they felt like doing at WrestleMania, I don't think it would have involved Logan Paul. I get from the context why Logan Paul's there. Shout out to the Grandpa Monster if you watch The Masked Singer. Spoiler alert, it was Wednesday though. YouTube generation, you'll be fine. No, for real though, like I get it. I have all the same feelings you do about Logan Paul, except actually a little bit less. I could care less. It means nothing to me. He means nothing to me. I saw the boxing match with his brother and Nate Robinson. It was a joke. All that being said, this match itself, as long as there's no fuckery, there's going to be nothing short of spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
I had bad vibes post Shinsuke AJ at WrestleMania, and I think that's because we got out of them what WWE wanted. I don't think WWE can say anything to Owens and Zayn that they won't take beyond themselves to give the greatest thing that they can on this stage.
I could see them both just, what if WWE wants us to do this, we're not going to do it. Because what the fuck are they going to do to us?
Right, right. Especially once they come out.
Fuck Owens more than you've already been doing.
Right. Or Sami Zayn, he's got a whole documentary about it.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't wait for. I can't wait for.
Nigerian drum fight. Big E versus Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews last night on SmackDown challenges Big E to a Nigerian drum fight at WrestleMania. We said it earlier about 2.5 hours ago. I have no clue what the fuck it is, but everything my brain tells me it is going to be fucking epic. There's going to be something going on where whatever's happening, all of a sudden you get drums at the right point, your heart rate's going to build, you're going to not know what the fuck is happening, and just love it.
Let the drama just swell on it. Dude, it'll be so good. I think this is Apollo's to win.
Yeah.
I think it's Apollo's to win. I kind of wish they would have leaned a little bit more on, because I want to see E take the heavyweight championship at some point.
Right.
And I think this would have been a good stepping stone if they had maybe just one more vignette of Roman Reigns kind of getting in Apollo's ear about things. That's kind of how it started. They didn't go back into it.
Yeah, I agree.
And then E kind of relating that, you know what? I lost this because he got big and bad because of Roman Reigns. I'm going to go for Reigns. And I think eventually that's going to happen. Because I called it in at the Rumble for the beginning of the night. I wanted Big E to go in to lose the title beforehand. I wanted him to lose the IC title before the Rumble,
right,
or during the Rumble in the beginning of the show. Lose it to Apollo. E go out to the Rumble and on its way or somewhere backstage, cross paths with Reigns. Win the Rumble. and then go right out there and get right into Reigns' face. And then just right there, show that fireside to Big E, let that feud start going, and then fuck it. I would just have the New Day just come there, bring their asses back together. Because I think at some point it is going to be the Bloodline versus the New Day. And it's going to be Reigns versus E and the Usos against Woods and Xavier. And it's going to be a fucking bloodbath. But I think that's going to be after Reigns gets the belt back, though. I think it'll be after Reigns gets the belt back.
Gets the belt back?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you know what? We didn't get to see this Reigns on the hunt for the belt. We only got to see.
That's true. He just
Reigns
took it.
He took the belt.
Show up and leave.
Show up and win. Character going after.
Wreck everyone and leave. I could see that, and I think in the context of what they do, like I've been calling it since he showed up at SummerSlam and the reveal of Paul Heyman and all that shit. I said Paul Heyman's here to cut the fat, cut the shit, fuck the contracts. If this is Money in the Bank, he tells Paul Heyman, no, fuck the ladder, bring the briefcase down and hand it to me. You know what I mean? He spent fucking 10 years earning this shit. He's already earned. He's not paying dues no more. So fuck all that. So that's where this character is now.
Right.
He's walked in the door with everything to lose because he's won it already. And he's proving to you that's why he's there. So I agree that if you now have built him as the inevitable tribal chief, peak of the mountain, and then you take the mountain out from underneath him, he now has to climb back up that mountain to secure his spot. Great storytelling. Absolutely. And if he has to filter that through the New Day, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's jump into it now. Fuck it. Main event of night 2, triple threat, Roman Reigns versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan. I have taken big shots at why this story is the way it is. I don't like it. I disagree. I don't care why right now. At the end of the day, I might hear some shit that makes me go, okay, makes sense. But the way it's been displayed, I don't dig the triple threat. Do you like the fact that it's a triple threat?
No, because it's not going to get the reaction that WWE wants. They threw Bryan into it's very cut and dry. They threw Bryan inside this into a triple threat because that's what people wanted. The problem with that is that that's what people want. You know that no one is going to fucking cheer Edge winning. Like, they don't want Reigns to take the win. They want Edge to walk out of there with it and have that WrestleMania moment and all, and it's the end of his story. No, it's not. It's not the end of his story, because 6 months ago or 8 months ago, we were telegraphing for Edge versus Orton 3 to wrap that up, because they're 50-50 booking it, and that was always what the plan was. But then they decided to bring him back at the Rumble, put him through the Rumble. Bryan is there to take the pin to Edge, so that way Reigns can say, you didn't beat me. It doesn't weaken him, because he didn't. He got someone took, and then here you go, bringing up the ultimate opportunist, the rated R superstar. He's going to take the opportunity to let Reigns take out Bryan, then pin Bryan. Because
so it'll be like, go ahead.
Well, the problem's going to be is that the fans are going to fucking boo Edge. They are going to fucking boo Edge, because the last person you want getting fucked out of a WrestleMania championship win is Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Because they're going to boo him. They're going to boo him because they want Bryan to win. The minute you put Bryan in there, especially in the form he's been, the crowd's automatically. Everyone wanted this to be a triple threat match.
So do you think? So I'm on the other side of that, though. I think Daniel Bryan and his positioning heading into this is him being a complete dick and an asshole who doesn't deserve to be there. Like Edge said on commentary last night, even though Edge is spitting some heel facts, he said, when's the last time a guy lost to the champion 2 times and deserves a shot at the title? I won the Royal Rumble. I deserve a shot at the title. So the way they're positioning Daniel Bryan, and honestly, Roman Reigns is the only one not being positioned as a heel right now.
Yeah. That's a fucking great point.
So what are we doing going into this match? At the end of the day, I think Roman Reigns is so untouchable that that's where your cheers are going to come from anyway. But Edge, is in a no-win situation. There's nobody he can pin that will make you want to see Edge win unless they tell that story in the ring. If, a la Rock and Hogan, right?
Yeah.
The crowd's cheering Hogan, booing The Rock. By the time The Rock gets the win, they're cheering The Rock. If they come out and they're cheering Daniel Bryan, doing the yes the whole way, and halfway through the match, Daniel Bryan kicks both of them in the dick, they're gonna boo Daniel Bryan. So if they find a way to get Daniel Bryan booed, then you can have him eat the loss. But honestly, yeah, I don't think you get
the way they plan.
Yeah, it's tough.
I think putting Bryan in it was a terrible idea because of that.
And in my opinion, I've said this, and I'll die on the sword if I have to. You have incredible talents in Roman, Daniel, and Edge. At the end of the day, whether I like them or not, they are incredible talents. And as long as they can translate, I don't care. Right. Each one of those 3 matches you can have. Roman versus Edge, Roman versus Bryan, Edge versus Bryan. Between those 3 matches, you can tell phenomenal fucking stories in their own vacuum. You don't have to put them together. And if you're coming out of this on SmackDown on Friday with a clean victory, let's say Edge wins. So it's Edge Roman heading to what? SummerSlam? What's Bryan do? If it's Bryan Roman heading to SummerSlam, what does Edge do? If it's Edge Bryan, what does Roman do? So you put those 3 together, now you're pulling someone away. Right after you put them together. Doesn't make sense.
I have a way that they could have fixed that. One, Edge screwed Edge. Because when he had that match with Reigns, or when Bryan had the match with Reigns, why did you care? You're main eventing WrestleMania anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter who the fuck you fought. You did this yourself. You made this triple threat match happen. And for what? Like, even Bryan even says it on commentary the week beforehand when they're having the match between Edge and Uso and who's going to be the special enforcer. And I personally think he broke character completely. And he was like, honestly, I don't understand why we have to have any kind of gimmick. I would rather this just be a wrestling match. Why do we need a gimmick? And he says it like so. And you can tell by the way Cole responds.
Yeah.
Bryan kind of remixed that shit. He was supposed to say something similar, but he went off the wall with it. But Edge kind of screwed Edge on that one.
Yeah.
Like, you doing all that, you didn't have to. What the fuck's it matter if you beat Reigns or if you beat fucking Bryan?
You got your shot.
Fight someone. You got your shot.
Yeah.
Like, when he was so mad about it, it came out, you're better than this, but you're not better than me. Okay, and? What the fuck what's your point? You're main eventing it, dude. It doesn't matter. You're making it harder for you to get this win. And I think, honestly, the reason that they were so inclined to throw Bryan into it, because everyone's like, oh yeah, that's a dream match right there. Edge versus Daniel Bryan. And they were even saying that backstage. Okay, it's a dream match. Why does it have to be a dream match now, then? That's a dream match. Not exactly. That's a SummerSlam dream match if Edge walked away on a clean win with clean win against Reigns.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your dream match there. They are more likely to not boo Edge winning SummerSlam over Bryan, especially if Edge turns heel.
Yes.
And goes back, because Edge coming back has been so bittersweet. It's cool seeing him at the same time. Like, dude, I remember you used to be funny. Like, you used to have such good commentary and just wit and humor, but you were still this ace fucking wrestler. Now you came back and I'm gritty. Like, no, you're not. The Flyers have gritty. You were just you're so monotone and like just you're not fun, dude. Like,
yeah, I thought his promo on Friday was the least investable he's been since he came back for the Rumble. I was like, oh, okay, you said this shit already, and you're trying to do it as if you're mad? Well, that's your fault you're mad. You put yourself in this spot. You're allowing this shit to affect you. Like you said, why would you care if Daniel Bryan faces Roman Reigns? You are now literally acknowledging that Roman Reigns is more important than the title. Because if Bryan wins the title, you're stuck with facing Bryan? No. So, yeah, I agree with you, man. Who you got winning this match?
I have I hate to say it, but I have Edge winning it. And I don't want Edge to win it, but I got Edge winning it. Which, again, that dream match they were talking about, you could just not involve Daniel Bryan into this match and then just had them face each other at SummerSlam. You didn't need to pull them in this deep. But yeah, I got Edge winning it. I don't want it
Roman
to be,
wins,
but
I think Roman wins, and I think he wins in a way that you get your Edge Daniel Bryan thing for some reason. But I don't know if Jey Uso plays a part. I think that's looking a little bit too much into it. I know, again, just like with Sheamus, I know Jey Uso deserves something. Just like Bayley too. We wouldn't even get a chance to talk about Bayley, but Jey Uso deserves
for the championships, baby.
Jey Uso deserves a place at WrestleMania for his work within getting us to WrestleMania. Oh, that'd be great.
Let him win the Andre.
But that's on night 3 of WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's on night 3. But I give it to him. Let him win the Andre. Let him come out to the ring with Reigns carrying the Andre.
That'd be awesome.
I think the Andre is great, but something more than that. Fucking give him a little bit more than that trophy. Here you go. You win the Andre, you get a mid-card title shot.
That'd be dope.
At Backlash.
That'd be dope.
Give it some kind of stipulation. Yeah, they win this great trophy and they do this in front of the trophy, and that's it. But so what? They won. That's like with Survivor Series.
Right.
Yeah, okay, you won. But what did you win?
Not only that, they say it's for bragging rights. And then the Monday and Friday afterwards, they don't talk about it.
Yeah, it's for bragging rights. So what? You're not talking to the people on the other show. You don't see them. What are you bragging
So
about?
last year, SmackDown won. And the Raw captain for SmackDown is now the 3rd member on Raw. Like, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Raw captain for Survivor Series is now the 3rd member on SmackDown. Like, no, you completely botched the whole storylines.
And then they do the same thing where at the beginning, I'll make this very quick. They do the same thing that I complained about earlier where here's Survivor Series is on Sunday. On Friday, let's have them all run a gauntlet against each other.
Yeah.
Why? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then, or here's these 3 versus these 3. Or these 2 versus these 2, and AJ Styles is a guest referee. But, damn, we're missing Keith Lee on this show. But anyway.
Yeah.
Where's it getting? Oh, Survivor Series. I always thought, too, the winning team, what it should be is, if you win, the 5 of you will then face each other the next day in a fucking elimination match. A fatal 5-way elimination style match.
Yep.
The winner goes on to get a title shot at the following pay-per-view because it gives you a reason to win. And not just that, it gives you a storyline between the characters.
Yep.
Like Styles wouldn't be just wanting to go in and wrestle because why am I going to get hurt? I'm going to let you guys eliminate these people, and then I'll just come in and
I'll be fresh for Monday night. Yeah,
right. I'll be fresh.
That's a great point.
It's great booking.
And now
it's so easy to do this.
It really is. But when you think about the pressure vacuum and what the actual job is, and we don't work there and all that shit.
Yeah.
Hindsight 2020 and armchair quarterbacking and all that shit. I think there is some type of disconnect, but when I think based off of being able, because that's the whole point of this podcast, period. What's given on TV is what I talk about. I don't know what Vince wants. You know why? Because I don't work there and I don't know Vince. What I know as far as what Vince wants is what people think they say Vince wants, or it's seventh-hand information by the time it gets to me. So it leaks out to a dirt sheet. Somebody picks it up on Twitter. Then they say it on their timeline. It's like, okay, so according to whatever report heard about said something, Vince wants Lacey Evans to be the Raw champion so Charlotte can beat her at WrestleMania. Well, guess what? We're having a WrestleMania without Charlotte and Lacey Evans. Why would I pay attention to that in January?
I don't think we're having one without Charlotte.
You think she's showing up?
I think Charlotte's coming up in that Ripley match.
Get the fuck out of here.
I think Charlotte's going to get
If you take that shit away from me,
match.
I'm going to start watching AEW. This is bullshit.
They're going to put Charlotte in that Ripley match, and Ripley's going to get the win over Charlotte. And then again, we're just fucking Asuka. Stop giving Asuka the belt. You never do nothing whenever you give her it.
That would make me
sad. For 8 months playing in the fucking tag division.
I am so excited for Rhea Ripley versus Asuka.
And they won't give us it.
You know, I called it out on the podcast. Again, another reason why I want to turn some of my terrible takes into a blog on the website, twtakespodcast.com, twtakespodcast.com/TWTs for these beautiful tees, which RedFox ordered. I got the alert. I got to print out the shipping label. Got you, brother.
Gotcha.
Also, twtakespodcast.com/international for all European listeners. There's fulfillment through Teespring for 2 different designs. I think 5 different order options. There's a hoodie on there, dope-ass WCW last logo that was turned into a TWT by Ref Marsh from Wrestling on the Rocks. Shit's dope. But it fulfills through Teespring, so everything's that way. I just get the profit on the back end. All profits go to upgrading equipment and giving you a dope-ass podcast. With that being said, however I got there, I called Rhea Ripley the greatest wrestler on the planet, pound for pound, age for age, gender for gender. At this point in time, I think she's 24, 25, and nobody mixes in-ring, mic skills, presentation, character work, top to bottom, everything you can think of seamlessly than Rhea Ripley. Asuka does a better job at that, but she's also 40.
Right.
Rhea Ripley might be a step or 2 behind, but she's also 16 years younger. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm factoring this in. At 1,000%. And how much more room does she have to grow? Could she grow into an AJ Styles level of performer? She's fucking 17 years younger than AJ. You know what I mean?
And just look at her.
So
that's why I was so hurt about her fucking losing at WrestleMania last year.
Yeah.
And then crying. The nightmare Rhea Ripley was crying because she lost to Charlotte Flair.
Yep.
And then for nothing at that.
Yeah, it turned into nothing.
Beat Flair for it anyway.
It turned into nothing. And meanwhile, shout out to Ref Marsh again. He has this claim to fame, at least for his vision of Charlotte, that at the end of the day, when the match is over, the weeks following, months following, nobody looks better after being in the ring with Charlotte Flair. She doesn't raise up the level of the next talent.
She gets the best matches out of anyone.
Let me ask you this. Who's the last person that Rhea Ripley wrestled on NXT? Raquel Gonzalez.
Yep.
And how great does she look right now?
Yep. She did the NXT tradition of going out, putting someone over, putting over the next person.
And it's built and built and built off that credibility. And that doesn't happen in Charlotte matches. That's why if we get this particular match, and for me, again, a dream match, Asuka, to me, is the best women's overall performer I've ever seen. She does everything so well. The problem is we don't get to see it. And if we have an isolated match with the most potential of any woman of all time, when it comes to size, stature, technical ability, what she can grow into, I think Sasha's limited. She's fantastic, and she's young as well. I think she's only 25, 26. She has an ability to grow as a performer, but the actual in-ring shit she's capable of doing is limited. I honestly think Rhea can do moonsaults off the top rope and would look phenomenal at some point in time if she decides to go down that route. But right now, she's so proficient at her technical work and her striking. She is just so fucking phenomenal that if we don't get Asuka and Rhea by themselves, I'll be even more pissed than I was for Becky and Ronda. I am a Becky mark out the ass. I fucking love Becky Lynch. And when the Ronda shit was culminating and they threw in Charlotte, I was so fucking pissed off. And that match did not come off the right way.
No.
Shout to Mrs. TW Takes. The missus reminded me that Asuka's 39. No offense to women, 39 is basically 41. It's just the way I look at my own life. I'm 36. I might as well be 45. I don't fucking care. It is what it is. But no, on the real, like not
I just
having.
found out I was turning 30 like 3 days ago. So.
Oh, shouts! Happy birthday!
I thought I was 28 going to 29. Apparently, I was fucking wrong. Been lying my ass off to people.
Asuka versus Rhea is a match in itself that 12 to 15 minutes later, we get everything that we've ever wanted and absolutely enjoy what happens. And if it's interjected with Charlotte, it'll be a high level of disappointment.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't happen. But you know what? If it doesn't happen, the other big thing I seen running around the rumor mill was Bayley Charlotte.
Which would be great. The same way we got Sammy KO. Yep. Give me Charlotte, Bailey, the same way we're getting Sammy KO, same way we're getting Seth and Cesaro. Fine. Absolutely fine with that.
Yep.
Does not bother me whatsoever. A gratuitous one-on-one women's match between two people who work well together. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I'm with it.
Who you got winning the match? Oscar or Rhea?
Oh,
If
Rhea
it's
Ripley.
just the two of them. Yeah.
It's just two of them. Rhea Ripley's walking out of there. And I want her to come across like, you have one job. One fucking job. Do not fuck this up on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see on Raw them, oh, let's tag together and then, oh, we miscommunication. You pushed me. No. I want to see Asuka come out.
Right.
Kick the shit out of a jobber. Put her away. Then Rhea come out right after as Asuka's still going up the ramp.
Yeah.
And lay her jobber out just as fucking quick. And then the stare down and then raise the belt, walk away. That's all you need.
Yeah, and I think honestly, having if Rhea wins at WrestleMania, you have the ability to move forward. Again, like I said with Sasha and Bianca, the beginning of the story of what could be incredible going down the line. If you keep them in that vacuum, if you keep it Rhea and Asuka, no one else, no fucking around, no external threats either way. You just have the two of them tell the story. Because, again, presentation-wise, you have Asuka, the Empress of Tomorrow. Her presentation of character is incredible. Rhea Ripley's nightmare character, where she is the complete badass, is phenomenal. Have them come to a head, and it all rely on in-ring work. I'm all here for it.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I tell you what, and you know what? You can even let Rhea face. You can even have Charlotte come out. If we're not going to get a Charlotte match, let Charlotte come out at the end of it. After she's celebrating and all. Give it the old NXT stare down at the top of the ramp. Set it up for the next pay-per-view and have Rhea put Charlotte in a fucking body bag. Because Rhea needs to get a very good, dominant, decisive victory over Charlotte Flair to wash off that stain. Because it was never needed. She did not need to lose that match against fucking Charlotte.
Yeah.
And even if it's Survivor Series or SummerSlam, whatever. SummerSlam.
Well, again, that's why I think we're at a point now in this WrestleMania. We're coming out of it where we have the ability to tell new. Any story. Yeah, start to tell any story we need to, and that definitely could be one of them.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Last thing we got to talk about, man. We've been we've been going back and forth for 4 hours, about 3.5 hours live. Fuck it, man. This is awesome. We talked about it before we went on. We talked about it a little bit on air. And now, ending the episode, The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton in a singles match. They've given us no context on what this match is. But this is the perfect thing for us to end on. I do a wrestling-based, as it's given to us podcast. You do a absurdity horror movie-based podcast. Pop culture. This is the culmination of both of our shows in one match. The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. Alexa Bliss looming in the background. What do we get at WrestleMania?
I want a Firefly Funhouse adjacent match where the Randy Orton, and this is the perfect way to involve Alexa as well, because truth be told, it's been a lot more so Alexa's storyline than the Fiend's recently.
Yes.
Because it's all leading up into the Fiend coming back, where he is following Alexa through the Funhouse, because you think about
Randy
it,
Randy's following Alexa?
Randy's following Alexa.
Okay.
Because you think about it, they called the John Cena match a Firefly Funhouse match.
Yeah.
But none of it was really in the Firefly Funhouse. Wait for that much time.
Right.
Cool. But again, it's a supernatural match. You can bring the Firefly Funhouse back and even see burnt versions of the puppets.
Sure.
Who are all parts of representations of Bray Wyatt's old self. Burnt parts of the puppets. Have him following Alexa Bliss around through the same way, kind of like John Cena. Matter of fact, even I would do this because there's so much you can call back to with Randy Orton's career. Even go back to John Cena is probably doing nothing right now because Suicide Squad's done wrapping up. I would even throw Cena in somewhere in that match just being as like, there he is. Cena's still stuck in the Firefly Funhouse.
We haven't
Do
seen him
some world
since.
building. What happened?
We haven't seen Cena since the match.
Right, and show him in there, and show the fact that, like, I would love to see a part where, as like with the Firefly Funhouse of Cena, they were showing all the things that Cena did and became, and him squashing Bray over and over and over again, and burying Bray. Show the fact that no one gave a fuck about that match between Orton and Cena, and I would even have them two, like, him thinking he's locking up with the Fiend, but really it's Cena. And the Fiend and Bray Wyatt's in the background, still burnt, like his Bray Wyatt character burnt.
Yeah.
And just in the background, just booing the match, because that's what happened in the real thing. You guys all thought that this was a big match because Cena's the face of the company. You're the legend of the company. No one gave a fuck. Everyone booed that match. No one asked for it. And, like, that's a big thing why I like the Firefly Funhouse match, is that it shows the realism of what you think people see you as versus what you actually are.
Yes.
I would even go as far as say the Fiend's a babyface in my eyes. I mean,
well, I tell you, I've said it for a while. Like, the way it clicked to me right before WrestleMania last year is that, or was it whenever Seth Rollins went into the Funhouse
and burned it down?
and burned it down, and then the next week it came up like nothing happened. I figured it out then. I said the Funhouse isn't a place. It's a state of mind. It has nothing to do with an actual place. The place only exists based on the Fiend energy and the state of mind that you're in. So once Seth Rollins had access to the Funhouse, that's when the Fiend had full control over Seth Rollins' state of mind. That was the only way for him to get there. Adam Pearce,
right there.
Absolutely. Adam Pearce went looking for the Funhouse, and the only way he got there was he only got there in the uniform, but we didn't see him in the uniform outside of the Funhouse. So it took that, like that movie with John Ritter, Stay Tuned, right? Like, he had to go through the satellite to enter those realms, and you change the channel, and you're in a new thing. But you didn't do anything, just the channel change. So whatever that channel change was that allowed Seth Rollins' state of mind to get into, allowed Adam Pearce's mind to get into, Alexa was possessed. She was allowed to be in there. Right, you know what I mean? Right. So the Funhouse being a state of mind, perfect. Randy, and the thing is, the state of mind is now present because the playground is now present. It happens inside the ring. It's sitting backstage. So everything now has come from the external from the internal to the external, and it's a part of ethos now. It's part of wrestling. That's why the Fiend was sitting next to Alexa. Like, this storytelling has just built and built and built and built. The only thing I'm not comprehending is, and you brought up a great point about John Cena being stuck in there from last year. What does this do for Randy Orton when it's all over? Because you can't wipe away Bray. You can't wipe away the Fiend. It's so incredible. But that means that Randy gets stuck. Randy loses. Randy turns into something else. Alexa said the Legend Killer dies at WrestleMania. What does all this mean?
You know what it's going to be? What it's going to be is two things here. One, what happened to the clone evil dark Randy Orton from a few weeks ago? Because if he comes out as that, I'm 100% okay with it. Because you know what? It's fucking funny, and it's some shit that Randy Orton's never done before. Number two, I got to hit you with a quick joke here. I love this idea that Randy Orton has killed every legend, and I want one day for him to be in the ring, cutting a promo, letting everyone know, I've killed every legend I've come across. I'm the only legend left. There's only one thing left to do. And he RKOs himself, and he kills the Legend Killer right there.
Hey, maybe that's what happens. Honestly, you're right. Randy Orton promoted himself on that screen, right? And what if that's what takes him out in this presentation match that you're talking about? That's the finisher, is Fiend Randy Orton through the side of Funhouse or Fiend Energy entity RKO's Randy the Legend Killer, and even you find some cinematic way for him to pin himself with the Fiend counting the 1, 2, 3.
and then comes out of it as the Dark Randy Orton, and then starts a fucking conquest where he goes around and just starts turning people into Fiend versions, and it's the Fiend takes over Raw.
I like NWO. Everyone joins the funhouse.
NWO.
Everyone's
FWO,
a Firefly.
Fiend World Order. Oh my god, that's how I want it to roll, though. I that's the best way I could see it coming out is Orton coming out as that Dark Orton. And then you get a mirroring of last time they tried to do this when Orton joined the Wyatt family.
I think you're absolutely right. I didn't think about it being a spectacle because it's going to be in front of a live crowd, having the cinematic match. They pulled off both matches really well last year with the Boneyard match and the Funhouse match.
Boneyard match was awesome.
Yeah, and even the Funhouse match took you on such a ride. You didn't know what was happening, and even on a rewatch, it's like, oh, the storytelling's so deep. The Boneyard match, the way it was shot, all that was phenomenal. I'm really curious to see how this plays out. I would love to see it some type of cinematic and the crowd not get tired of it. They're going to be so amped to be allowed to be in front of shit. You might be right, though. It gives them a chance to kind of just sit back, relax, and watch, eat some popcorn, watch some shit like the rest of us. I'm excited for it, though. In my opinion, this is where...
You could even spill it out into the ring.
Possibly.
You can literally have them break through the ring and come out the other side. Like cinematically, them in the Firefly Funhouse going through the ring, like you said, with Bray counting.
Yeah.
Counting the 1, 2, 3. And I would even have them go to 3 and then just keep on counting and counting and counting and then pushing through the ring. And then the ring in the arena start opening up. And the Fiend, him, and Orton, the Dark Orton, come up from the ring.
Yeah, that's some horror movie shit that I have.
Why not?
I would have never thought of some shit like that. Look, I think there's endless possibilities. I had some fear that with this culmination of what the Bray Wyatt Fiend character is, that we might not have much legs to walk on. But I trust in the storytelling, and the way the storytelling is kind of flattened out post Fastlane. I'm nervous, but I will not judge this match until it happens. And when it does, my God, I hope it explodes into some awesome shit going forward.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it twice. I'm going to watch it the first time, and I'm not going to critique it. I'm going to watch it purely for the enjoyment. Then I'll watch it a second time, and I'll start kind of dissecting it in the sense of, that's why I like the Fiend, the very horror elements to it. And I kind of like to dissect it, but I want to enjoy it first. Like the first 100%. Firefly Funhouse, I didn't enjoy it the first time. I enjoyed it the second time. When I started to dissect it, I'm like, oh, NWO, I get it now.
Right. Yeah, all the callbacks to all that shit. We could break that shit down another time. I think we've taken up enough of the people's time in. We've been running for about 3.5 hours, and I've had a fucking blast, dude.
Oh, dude.
I cannot thank you enough for coming on. Tell the people one more time all about you and your show and maybe some things to expect going forward.
All right. So, my name is RedFox, Matt RedFox to be exact, and I host Night of Living Podcast. We are a controlled chaos pop culture podcast. We talk everything from comics to horror to whatever I feel like recording that week. We do a lot of fun poking around at people's movie opinions on social media. So follow us over on Twitter at Night of the LP, Night with a K. And yeah, we're getting big in with April. We had a little bit of a hiccup with March, took some time off. But you know what? Time apart makes the heart grow fonder, and I'm so excited to be back in the game. I have a lot of fun things coming out in April. Monday, we'll be releasing our Kong versus Godzilla and MonsterVerse episode, respectively, as well as every weekend, we're going to be throwing out micro reviews for Invincible and for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I have 4 Nerds by Nerds coming through later on this month to talk about Ninja Turtles. We have an update video coming out on Sunday, and we've just got a lot planned. It's going to be a very, very busy month on the show. We have a little video being filmed on Sunday with a little update on everything. But yeah, April's our month. We're getting the ball rolling back again, and there's not going to be any more stop starts from here going forward. Too motivated to get this stuff going.
Great. So and stay tuned.
we have Bishop coming through at some point as well for this wrestling one.
Yeah, you threw that on me. I had no clue, but I'm down, man.
And Spirit of Vengeance with Junior.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fucking TW Takes Jr., the Hammer, he will be doing a Spirit of Vengeance. He cannot wait for it. And I tell you, when we did Ghost Rider, I took 3.5 pages of notes just to make sure that we did it right. I have yet to kind of like punch it together and kind of edit it the right way to put it up, but it will be going up soon. For me, everything on me, twtakespodcast.com, twtakespodcast.com/TWTs for in-house merch, twtakespodcast.com/international for the Teespring site. Dope logo by @RefMars from Wrestling on the Rocks. Appreciate you, my friend. Look, all podcast platforms, find both of us. Stay in tune to @Night of the LP, Night with a K. Mr. RedFox, thank you so much for coming through. I cannot wait for our episode on your show. I cannot wait for you to drop everything you have going forward. As far as pop culture podcasts go, you're my favorite go-to. I've been hitting you private messages, hitting you with text, get that fucking show going, brother. I'm here to support you any way I can. You ever need anything, please reach out, my friend.
I appreciate it, Bishop. Please keep up the good work. Honestly, I remember when you first started talking about doing the podcast back when you were just on Twitter and you started talking about doing the podcast. I'm like, do it. Just do it. Because if the podcast is half as good as these interactions that we're having, fucking do it. And dude, you honestly, like I said it in a few of our episodes that we put out, everyone should be checking you out, man. Honestly, you've been putting the fucking work in on this show, and it is really fucking showing. You do shit that I can't, like how you have all this set up, the dedication to do all this. I've been doing this for a year and a half. I still don't even know how to do it.
Hey, anything we can do to work together to help each other out, man, that's what this is all about. Once again, thank you for coming on. I look forward to seeing yours very, very soon. I look forward to working on you getting some shit together, collaborative again going forward. Maybe some fallout from WrestleMania. We'll see how it all goes. Everybody out there, thank you for joining in the chat. Mrs. TW Takes, Just in Time 211, Chaos Theory Podcast. Check him out too. Chaos Theory Podcast is sponsoring Mission Pro Wrestling's May 1st show. Shouts to Mr. Chaos. He's such a good dude. Other than that, that's all we got. Signing off, Bishop TW Takes from TW Takes Podcast. Matt RedFox, Night of the LP on Twitter.
Thanks for having
Until
me.
next time.